Chapter 51, Thrashing. There's no need for it anymore. Sun Mo sat down, taking out their 9 provinces immortal slaying legend. He had borrowed from the reading veranda. He had been busy for the past few days and hadn't had any chance to read it. Huh? Li Ziqi was stunned. Teacher, is it alright for you to be so confident? What if things don't turn out the way you want them to? It'd be embarrassing. In Li Ziqi's view, since there was time, they should make full use of it. Teacher is so cool. Lu Xiaoyue was innocent and didn't think too much. She only felt that Sun Mo, who was so calm, had the air of a great teacher. Ding. Plus 15 favorable impression points from Lu Xiaoyue. Prestige connection with Lu Xiaoyue, neutral. 98 100ths. Sun Mo threw a glance at the papaya girl. Your trigger points for favorable impression pots are a bit off. To think that you didn't show any reaction after seeing my amazing ancient massage technique, but had contributed 15 favorable impression points because I picked up a novel. However, that was still better than Xuan Yuan Po. This kid had sat down and meditated after seeing that he couldn't spar against Ziping. He really didn't think of anything other than fighting. It's true that there isn't a need for it anymore. If the Zhu brothers have similar capabilities, then with Ziping getting close to the peak of the 1SD level, he'd be able to crush Xuan. Rongbo explained. He admired how confident and at ease Sun Mo was acting now. Jin Muji was a strict and fair teacher. When it was 10 minutes away from the agreed time, she sent students to notify both parties that they must arrive at the square inches front of the teaching building on time. If they were late, it'd be treated as they had given up. When Sun Mo came down, he saw that there were already 700 to 800 people gathered at the square. There were a lot more people than there had been before. Everyone, please keep quiet. Both parties please get prepared. The match will start in 3 minutes. Jin Muji spoke up and the place immediately fell silent. How do you feel? Qin Fen asked. I had a good sleep. Xuan stretched out his body. When he looked at Ziping, a hint of disdain flashed in his eyes. The days in which I hide my capabilities are over. From today onward, I'll let everyone in the family know that I'm a lot more outstanding than you. Who is my elder brother? I'm the perfect successor to the clan. Very good. Go on. Go clinch the victory that belongs to us. Qin Fen patted Xuan on the back. Very soon, both brothers stood in the center of the arena, standing 10 meters apart from each other. Brother, you'll have to watch out. Ziping moved his limbs excitedly. Although his chances of winning every time they sparred in the past were average, Ziping was very disappointed each time. After all, he was the elder brother and should be the stronger one. Therefore, as time passed by, he started to hate sparrings. However, Ziping felt unprecedented confidence today. Haha. Xuan couldn't be bothered to give a reply. To prevent any accidental injuries, both parties will fight with bare hands. After ascertaining that neither of them had any objections, Jin Muji called for the match to start. Xuan's leg stomped down onto the ground and he darted out. In his eyes, there wasn't a foolish and mediocre elder brother. There was only his plan for the future. He would give his all, defeating Ziping in a second and then receiving the attention and cheers from the crowds. He would then get Qin Fen to stick to his end of the agreement, to introduce him to Liu Mubai. He would then make use of Liu Mubai's connections to reach a greater stage, becoming a winner in life. Perfect. At this happy thought, Xuan's lips couldn't help but curl up into a smile. Then, his smile stiffened up. What the hell? Xuan was surprised. How did his brother suddenly appear in front of him in the blink of an eye? This speed was too fast. Boom. Strong gales seethed and a heavy punch was launched. Xuan instinctively raised his arm to put up a block. He had seen this move many times in the over 100 matches they had. Therefore, he didn't feel nervous. He even had the leisure to think about his retaliation. However, at the next instant, he received a huge blow in his left shoulder. Bang! Xuan was sent flying out. What? Qin Fen was so surprised that his eyeballs were popping out. What happened to all the talk about you being more outstanding? What happened to the talk about how you'd definitely win? Why were you sent flying right off the bat? I can win. Ziping was so agitated that he let out a loud cry, stomped down fiercely onto the ground, and shot out like a sharp arrow, catching up to Xuan. Bang, bang, bang. Xuan was like a small boat that was wavering amidst a storm, swaying left and right, seeming as if he was going to topple at any moment. Am I dreaming? Zhuan was very surprised, and he would feel the occasional pain coming from his body after being hit by punches, causing him to clench his teeth. However, what he found the most unbearable was the current state in which he was being overpowered. When had his elder brother become so strong? Zhuan wanted to retaliate but wasn't able to do so. The power of Ziping's punches, his body's agility, and the speed at which he was punching out were all one notch above Zhuan's. He's able to become so strong after 1 hour. As Zhuan knew his elder brother's abilities well, his surprise turned into astonishment, and he subconsciously glanced toward Sun Mo. This intern teacher wasn't simple. It was no wonder that Xuan Yunpo would choose to acknowledge Sun Mo as his teacher. Brother, admit your loss. You won't be able to win against me. Ziping advised him to surrender, feeling exhilarated. He had wanted to say this since 3 years ago, but never had the chance to do so. Yet today, he could say it. Ding. Plus 15 favorable impression points from Ziping. Prestige connection with Ziping, neutral, 25 1/100ths. Sun Mo watched the match. Although he had received the favorable impression points contributed by Ziping, he didn't feel happy about it. To think that this kid was already getting distracted when he hadn't won the match yet. As expected, Zhuan managed to grab hold of this instant and immediately retaliated. He pulled back his right arm and lashed it out like a whip toward Ziping. Crow tail flick. This move again, Ziping's heart skipped a beat. This was his brother's special move, and he had suffered from it many times in the past. He knew how to defend against it, but his body was unable to keep up. Therefore, he could only take the attack forcibly. This was what it meant to be doing things proudly, bullying the other party for being able to see the attack but unable to fend it off. Zhuan's right hit a target. However, it wasn't Ziping's shoulder, but his crossed arms instead. What? Zhuan was very shocked, and then he was kicked in the stomach. Bang! Zhuan tumbled. I managed to block it. Haha. To think that I managed to block off the crow tail flick. Ziping laughed out loudly. When he looked at Zhuan again, his gaze had turned from a serious one into an overlooking one. There was even an additional hint of confidence in it. It was just a coincidence. Zhuan couldn't accept it and bellowed out. He couldn't wait anymore. He must use his killer move, or else he would lose. Trash. Qin Fen cursed and had a strong urge to personally go down and fight on Zhuan's behalf. He's winning. Li Ziki was very happy. Lu Xiaoyuo grabbed tightly onto Sun Mo's sleeve as she watched the intense battle. So this is Zhu Clan's great hereditary technique, the crow fist. Interesting. Xuan Yunpo planned on looking for a chance and challenged this pair of twins. Zhuan immediately pulled his right arm back, gathering his spiritual chi onto his fist until it was shrouded in a black glow. This was his killer move. Once performed, he'd be able to turn the tables around immediately. Elder brother, you're the one who won't be able to win. Zhuan sneered. When they sparred in the past, when he took on this pose, his elder brother would attack him anxiously. But it was useless, he wouldn't be able to make it. HMPH. I deliberately let you send me flying. This will allow me to draw my distance from you and perform my ultimate skill. The reason Zhuan said this was not only to give Ziping mental pressure. He also wanted to hide his awkwardness of having been sent flying. However, he was good at adapting and assessing situations. It was just that this time around, his elder brother hadn't come attacking toward him fiercely like he had done in the past. Ziping inhaled deeply and pulled his right arm back, taking on the same pose as Zhuan. Zhuan was so shocked that he almost bit off his tongue. What the hell? Brother, what are you trying to do? Have you also managed to learn this move? That's not the case. When you used this move in the past, you'd fail 8 of 10 attempts. HMPH. You want to put in the effort and show off so that a great teacher would set their eyes on you? That's impossible. I'll let you know that the difference between us is that of heaven and earth. Zhuan discarded all distracting thoughts and was about to attack when he saw Ziping forestalling him with a disposition of a dragon spear that was launched out from a burlister, domineering, sharp, and advancing forth without hesitation. Crow covers the sun. Boom. Ziping's clothes fluttered, and dust flew all over the place. His punch was like a rainbow stretching across the sky, piercing forth. Zhuan panicked, and sweat broke out on his forehead. He took a deep breath and then anxiously launched out his killer move. Crow covers the sun. There wasn't a need for a great teacher to be here. Even the students could tell that even though both of them had performed the same move, Ziping had struck out with greater prowess. Both fists collided. Boom! Ziping stood the while Zuan was like a battered sack that had been sent flying, falling to the ground. His right arm bent at 90 degrees as a caca sound rang out. Ah, my arm! Zuan held onto his arm and cried out agonizingly. The match is over. Ziping wins. After saying that, Jin Muji moved and appeared next to Zuan, giving him treatment immediately. I've won. Ziping looked at his fist, still wearing a look of disbelief on his face. Thereafter, he threw a glance at his younger brother whom he had defeated. It was only then did he swing his fist excitedly, letting out a bellow. I've won. This cry was Ziping releasing his pent-up feelings from being suppressed by Zuan over so many years. As the elder brother, he should be the one suppressing his younger brother. Zuan's countenance was grim as he looked at Ziping, his lips trembling non-stop. He had lost. It was all over. The occupational path he had planned out for himself was cut off before he had even started. He could no longer be a winner in life. Oh yay, he won. Li Ziqi cheered. As expected, Teacher Sun was really amazing. Ding! Plus 10 favorable impression points from Li Ziqi. Prestige connection with Li Ziqi. Friendly. 116 1/1000ths. Clap clap clap. Lu Xiruo clapped enthusiastically. Ding! Plus 15 favorable impression points from Lu Xiruo. Prestige connection with Lu Xiruo. Friendly. 113 1/1000ths. Sun Mo's lips twitched. Ziping and Zuan's potential was on the higher end of average, so Sun Mo didn't have a great desire to recruit them to begin with. At the sight of this scene, he became even less interested. Putting Zuan aside, Ziping's character was a little cold. While he could explain this as him having lost control over his attack, he hadn't gone up to console his brother at the first instant. Instead, he was immersed in the exhilaration of victory. This wasn't acceptable. Moreover, both Li Ziqi and Lu Xiruo had contributed favorable impression points. This meant that both of them were impressed by his guidance. However, there wasn't any reaction from Ziping at all. This member from a great clan was showing some signs of burning the bridge after crossing it. Brother, are you convinced now? Ziping asked proudly. It's impossible for me to lose. I've been the one giving way to you every time we spar. My aptitude is better than yours. Zuan glared at Ziping, not understanding what was going on. Forget it. I've been the one who has been giving way to you. Don't believe me? The result now is the best evidence. Ziping was very proud. Zuan fell silent. Could it be that my assessment is really wrong? Is Ziping's aptitude really better than mine? Could it be that he had held back when he had lost in the past? That's not it. The reason you can win must be because you've undergone a tremendous change in the past 2 hours. Zuan looked towards Sun Mo in astonishment. What guidance did you give him? Sun Mo stood there like a narcissus, covered in the afternoon sunlight. Chapter 52, Sun Mo victorious, indisputable. What is this teacher's name? The students amongst the spectators were starting to find out about Sun Mo's name. This was how the world of the great teachers was like. The greater the teacher's reputation, the more students would come. If they were to produce a few great disciples who could enter the Green Cloud rankings, then there'd be an overwhelming number of students who would come under the teacher's tutelage. Sun Mo 1, Yuan Feng, who was amongst the crowd, was shocked. What was Qin Fen doing? A graduate from Jixia Learning Palace had lost out to Sun Mo, who wasn't known even in Zhongzhou Academy. Did you buy your graduation certification? Although it wasn't good to be looking down on his alma mater, Zhongzhou Academy was only D grade. It was a big difference from someone who had graduated from one of the 9 greats. How could he lose? Qin Fen was one of the only 3 amongst this batch of intern teachers who had graduated from the 9 greats. He had always been very proud and didn't care for people like Jiang Sheng. However, he had now become Sun Mo's stepping stone. Sun Mo is going to become famous. At the thought of this, Yuan Feng was filled with envy. As expected, Teacher Sun is really amazing. Qi Shangjia, who was amongst the crowd, looked at Sun Mo with admiration. When he turned towards Ziping, his gaze was that of envy. Sigh, his aptitude was too weak, and he didn't have the chance to go under Teacher Sun's tutelage. Ding! Plus 20 favorable impression points from Qishangjia. Prestige connection with Qishangjia, friendly, 393 1,000ths. Qin Fen, you've lost. Sun Mo wouldn't reply to Zuan's question. He didn't deserve to know it. Moreover, Sun Mo was feeling emotional from the system's notification. Qishangjia was really an honest person. He had felt admiration toward Sun Mo just from watching in the crowd, giving him so much favorable impression points. It was more than what he had gotten from Ziping, who was the one who had gained improvement. Should I take him as my student? Sun Mo hesitated. Qin Fen, who had been enraged to begin with, turned pale upon hearing this. He felt extremely embarrassed. His countenance was grim. No, I haven't lost. Qin Fen thought real hard, trying to find a loophole in this. He questioned, Sun Mo, the reason why Ziping could win wasn't because he had gained advancement in his martial technique, but that he had an overwhelming advantage in his physical attributes. You fed him something, right? The moment he said this, a commotion broke out. It was because Qin Fen was indirectly hinting that Sun Mo had cheated. Your desire to survive is really strong. Sun Mo sneered. Zuan's eyes lit up. Teaching assistant Qin, please do not defame both Teacher Sun and my character. Sun Mo wasn't anxious, but Ziping was. If he didn't clarify things, it'd be a great blemish to his name if people were to misunderstand that he had only temporarily increased his battle prowess after taking alchemical pills. Moreover, after having witnessed the prowess of the ancient dragon capturing hands, Ziping had made up his mind to acknowledge Sun Mo as his teacher. At times like this, the disciple naturally had to be the one to speak up and defend his teacher. Qin Fen, please mind your words. Jin Muji frowned, disliking Qin Fen's attitude of not admitting his loss. Teacher Jin, if Sun Mo hasn't done anything against his conscience, then I'd like to know what guidance he has given Ziping. For the sake of his reputation, Qin Fen could only gamble on this. Thankfully, he wasn't a fool and knew that he should conceal things. This is also an experience for me. Swoosh. Everyone turned their gaze toward Sun Mo. They were curious as well. Sun Mo, what's your take on this? Jin Muji asked. I don't mind. Sun Mo shrugged. Ziping, tell him. Teacher Sun had used the ancient dragon capturing hands to give me a massage for about 5 minutes, and my physique gained a tremendous improvement then. Right now, it is almost at 2NT level of the body refinement realm, Ziping explained. Before the tone for his last word ended, Zuan was the first to cry out. Impossible. Zuan was wearing an expression as if Ziping was lying and spurted out angrily, your realm should be the same as mine. According to my estimation, it'll take at least 3 months before we can level up. What crap are you saying that you'd be able to gain such a great improvement within 5 minutes? I don't believe it either, but it's the truth. Ziping was elated when he saw his younger brother's expression. Now you know how amazing your elder brother is, right? Continue to show respect for me in the future. Ancient dragon capturing hands? That sounds really domineering. A 5-minute massage can make up for 3 months worth of cultivation? Why does it sound a little fake? That must be a lie, right? The spectators murmured amongst themselves. If what Ziping said was true, then Sun Mo's ancient dragon capturing hands would be almost comparable to the origin nurturing pill's effects. This was an alchemical pill used for the body refinement realm. After taking it, it would strengthen one's constitution and physique, increasing the person's realm by 1 level. Of course, the price was very expensive. Just one pill would cost over 100,000 silvertals. It'd be a dream pill if one's family wasn't rich enough to have their own ore mines. They'd be better off working hard in their cultivation. Hearing Ziping's words, Qin Fen lit up, as if he had grabbed onto a life-saving straw. He immediately questioned, Sun Mo, we are competing on our guidance, and not massages and tuina. Ha ha, teaching assistant Qin, can you be any more shameless than this? Sun Mo was amused. May I ask what is considered guidance? Of course, it's referring to pointing out students' flaws. Qin Fen insisted on his point, but even he was feeling embarrassed to be saying this. In Middle-earth's 9 provinces, a teacher's guidance was in all aspects. Not only did it include guidance on their cultivation, but also the maintenance of the student's physical and mental constitution. Sometimes, the teacher might even worry about their students' marriages. It could be said that after a student came under a teacher's tutelage, they'd become the teacher's raw jadestone. The teacher's eventual goal was to forge them into perfect masterpieces. Some strict teachers might interfere with a lot of areas, including the food they ate, their cultivation plan, their rest time, and even their relationships. If one were to encounter great teachers who were abstinent, after coming under the teacher's tutelage officially, the students had to be mentally prepared that they'd never be able to have sex in their lifetime. After Sun Mo read the materials in the library and found out about this, he was surprised as well. However, he quickly accepted things. In ancient China, the relationship between a teacher and their student was very close. Once a teacher, forever one's father. Even in the modern world, those top-notch coaches would also practice strict control over the sportsmen under them. In Middle-earth's 9 provinces, after a student acknowledged a teacher, they would stay by the teacher's side to learn, and the teacher would have to give it their all into guiding the student. Even though it couldn't be said that many teachers treated their students as their own kids, it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that they treated each of their students as half a son or daughter. As long as there wasn't any cheating involved, the teacher would be considered a good one as long as the student could defeat their opponents. It didn't matter what guidance the teacher had provided. The students around burst out laughing, suddenly feeling a little disappointed toward the Jixia Learning Palace. This was the standard of its graduates. Of course, there were more students and teachers who were interested in the ancient dragon capturing hands. You want my guidance? Alright. This Ziping isn't a match for his brother in terms of his martial technique. His moves don't flow smoothly enough, and he would need to work hard in his cultivation. As for Zuan, he has shown great mastery in his crow fist, being able to lash out and draw back freely. It's also because of this that he had been able to freely hold back in the past matches, causing Ziping to wrongly estimate their abilities. Sun Mo spoke up. He had kept his divine sight activated for the entire period of the battle. Through the duo's detailed data, and then comparing it to their actual battle, it was easy for him to come up with some conclusion. But Zuan has his flaws too. He is over-reliant on his right arm, and the prowess of his left arm is almost half of his right. If he doesn't put an effort into training it, it would be a weak point. Zuan, who wasn't convinced with the outcome earlier, was stunned, and he looked at Sun Mo in astonishment. It was because everything that Sun Mo said was right. However, he had only exchanged less than 10 moves with his brother, which had taken only several tens of breaths. How did Sun Mo manage to see through so many things within this short period? Rongbo was surprised as he assessed Sun Mo. It seemed that Sun Mo was a lot more amazing than he had thought him to be. Ding! +3 favorable impression points from Rongbo. Prestige connection with Rongbo, neutral. 6/100ths. Jin Muji looked at Sun Mo with her beautiful gaze, feeling a little surprised. She was then a little angry. Both Zhang Hanfu and Wang Su had given Xin Hui pressure in order to fight for authority, and they had thrown Sun Mo to the logistics department. Thankfully, he hadn't resigned in fury. Otherwise, the Central Province Academy would lose a good teacher. Ding! +1 favorable impression points from Jin Muji. Prestige connection with Jin Muji, neutral. 3/100ths. Sun Mo tried to stop the twitching in his lips when he heard the system's notification. The two great teachers' expectations were really high, so they were very stingy with the favorable impression points. The two great teachers had naturally seen through the Zhu brothers and thus admired Sun Mo. The spectators had no idea if what Sun Mo said was right. However, Zuan knew and he had lost. This meant that he probably had no chance of entering under Liu Mubai's tutelage. Therefore, he was decisive and walked over, kneeling before Sun Mo. Teacher Sun, please take me as your disciple. Bang! Zuan kowtowed. Sun Mo shouldn't be too bad either. He's able to see through me from a few moves of the battle. Moreover, he seems to be headmaster and Xin Huai's fiancée. If I can make use of this connection, I'll be able to climb even higher. Seeing what his younger brother had done, Ziping was stunned for a moment before he realized that his younger brother was trying to snatch the chance away from him. He quickly came dashing over. Teacher Sun, Student Ziping admires your talent and hopes to study under your tutelage. Bang! Ziping kowtowed. As he was wary of his younger brother, he kowtowed even harder. The two students knelt before Sun Mo respectfully, not daring to get up without his approval. At the sight of this, Qin Fen was so angry that his lips were twitching fiercely. It was as if something he had his eye on had been snatched by someone else. Then an indescribable feeling of disappointment appeared on his face. There was no need for Jin Muji, the referee, to determine the winner. The Zhu brothers' kowtow was the best answer. Sun Mo won. It was indisputable. Teacher, you've managed to snatch them. Li Ziqi put out a finger and secretly poked Sun Mo's arm. Lu Xiaoyuo stood at the side, smiling sweetly as she looked at Sun Mo with admiration. Teacher Sun was so amazing. Ding. Plus 10 favorable impression points from Li Ziqi. Prestige connection with Li Ziqi. Friendly. 126 1/1000ths. Ding. Plus 15 favorable impression points from Lu Xiaoyuo. Prestige connection with Lu Xiaoyuo. Friendly. 128 1/1000ths. Qi Shengjie, who was amongst the crowd, looked at the Zhu brothers, feeling extremely envious. He wanted to be Teacher Sun Mo's student as well. Ding. Plus 20 favorable impression points from Qi Shengjie. Prestige connection with Qi Shengjie. Friendly. 413 1/1000ths. Sun Mo was feeling a little embarrassed from listening to the consecutive notifications. Qi Shengjie, I'll feel proud if you admire me this much. However, he couldn't help but throw a glance toward Xuan Yuan Po. This battle maniac was watching the show with his arms crossed in front of his chest, completely unmoved. Yuan Feng was so jealous that his eyes had turned red. If it wasn't a crime to kill, he'd dash out immediately and chop Sun Mo up into meat paste. If an intern teacher could recruit 5 students in this student recruitment meet, they could be officially hired, becoming a teacher recognized by the Saint Gate. Sun Mo had achieved this, and he was even faster than Qin Fen. Jin Muji backed off a few steps, leaving the stage to Sun Mo. This was the glory he had earned. Seeing that Sun Mo wasn't showing any reaction, Zuan felt a little unhappy. I'm already giving you face, so why aren't you agreeing? If it was some other intern teacher, they'd have helped both of them up long ago. He curbed his impatience and shouted out even louder, Teacher, please accept this disciple. Teacher, please accept this disciple. Xiaoping quickly did the same. No matter what, he must be the first to enter Sun Mo's tutelage, being his younger brother's martial senior. Both of you can get up. Sun Mo looked at this pair of twins calmly. I'm sorry, I don't think that I'll be able to teach either of you. Chapter 53, 3 Letters of Resignation. The den before the teaching building instantly fell to silence. The surrounding people were staring at Sun Mo with astonished looks on their faces, as though they had heard wrongly. What did he say? Unable to teach? Wasn't this a tactful rejection? Jin Muji glanced at Sun Mo. This answer caused her interest in him to grow. Rongbo nodded. He didn't really like this pair of brothers either, but he didn't remind Sun Mo because this could be considered a testing ground. He wanted to see if Sun Mo could withstand the temptation of being acknowledged by someone as their masters. When a teacher first got acknowledged as a master by someone, they would feel a floaty feeling and accept all types of students. But they didn't know that by doing this, it would seriously affect their teaching career. And as for Sun Mo, he was very rational. Teacher. This joke isn't funny. Zuan laughed dryly, but he felt a sense of unease in his heart. Ziping thought that it was because Sun Mo was unsatisfied with his attitude. Hence, he kowtowed once more with more force. Teacher Sun, please accept this student. I've already said it. I'm just an intern teacher. I'm afraid I won't know how to teach you guys. I don't want to ruin 2 wonderful pairs of unpolished jades. Sun Mo tactfully declined. A clamor rang out in the surroundings. This time around, even a fool could understand. Sun Mo basically didn't want this pair of twins. But what was the reason? Someone that could cause 2 teachers to vie for them should definitely be a genius, right? Also, there were teachers who read through the information booklet. This pair of siblings had pretty good rankings. Li Ziqi hurriedly tugged on Sun Mo's sleeves. She used her hand and covered her mouth as she asked softly, Teacher, did you say wrongly? You two can get up. you will definitely be able to find an even better teacher. Accepting disciples was a major matter. Sun Mo naturally wouldn't be casual about it. The attitude Ziping showed after he had defeated Zuan, as well as the low number of favorable impression points he contributed, made Sun Mo think lowly of this student. There were no other reasons. Ziping's personality was too cold. As for Zuan, Sun Mo simply didn't wish to have him as a student. Teacher. Why? Ziping didn't understand. We are from an aristocratic clan that deals in the herbs business. Our constitution isn't bad and has been headhunted by many teachers from the time we participated in the student recruitment meetup until now. Could it be we still fail to gain your regard? Just get up. He already showed that he doesn't think highly of you. Why are you still calling him teacher? Compared to his elder brother, Zuan was easily angered. However, this was the temperament of youths. After he spoke, everyone could feel the resentment in his tone. Has Sun Mo gone silly? In the crowd, Yuan Feng was dumbstruck. If it was him, he would definitely accept them immediately. A pair of wealthy students would definitely not forget to pay respects to their elders every new year. The teacher would have a better life too. However, Sun Mo rejected them. Was he retarded? Ha ha, ha ha. Qin Feng was so angered that he started laughing. He glared at Sun Mo. Since you don't think highly of them, why did you still want to compete with me? You are the one who wanted to compete with me. Sun Mo shrugged. Qin Feng was dumbfounded. Now that he recalled it, it was true. Sun Moon didn't say anything earlier. It was Yuan Feng and himself who egged Sun Mo on. After that, the competition occurred. From the start to the end, Sun Mo had never stated that he wanted to accept this pair of brothers as his disciples. I'm so despicable, Qin Feng muttered, wanting nothing more than to slap himself. You just realized it? Sun Mo counter-asked. Qin Feng was almost angered to death. The main reason for his anger was that Sun Mo obtained Xuan Yunpo and Li Ziki. If not, he wouldn't have bragged that this pair of brothers had wanted to take him as their master just to gain back some face. And now, everything was over. Hee, teacher is so toxic. Li Ziki used her elbow and prod Lazario. Amen, amen. The papaya girl continuously nodded. After that, she felt a little happy. It was so good that Sun Mo had accepted her. Let's go. Sun Mo no longer wished to be surrounded and watched. He called out to the two girls as he turned to leave. The surrounding spectators automatically opened up a path, and the intern teachers all stared at Sun Mo with complicated emotions. However, the majority of them felt emotions like depression and unhappiness. He was also just an intern teacher, yet he was choosing which students to accept. Who gave him the courage to do so? If they were in his shoes and someone wanted to take them as their masters, they would immediately rush forward to accept. I've already said it earlier. How can they be worthy of Teacher Sun? Upon seeing the Zhu brothers fail to acknowledge Sun Mo as their masters, Qi Shangjie felt relief. He also retracted the tiny hope in his heart. His aptitude couldn't even be compared to the Zhu brothers. Hence, he would also naturally not be successful in getting Sun Mo to be his master. Qin Feng's eyes locked onto Sun Mo when he left. All of a sudden, he clenched his fist and shouted, Teacher Sun is awesome indeed. Most probably, you will be able to trample on Liu Mubai soon and suppress Fang Wuji, becoming the #1 great teacher in Jinling. Rongbo frowned. Qin Feng's heart was so filthy. As the saying went, 3 men made a tiger. With so many spectators here, as long as the spectators casually spread these words, the meaning of the words would surely change. Qin Feng wanted to create troubles for Sun Mo. In Jinling City, Liu Mubai and Fang Wuji of the Zhongzhou Academy were 2 extremely famous great teachers to be. By lumping Sun Mo with them, Qin Feng evidently wanted to make trouble for him. The spectators hadn't dispersed completely. Qin Feng and the Zhu brothers had already left. But nothing could be done. Things were too embarrassing for them. Teacher Qin, do you hate Sun Mo very much? At a remote location, Zuan caught up to Qin Feng. What do you think? Qin Feng mockingly asked. Accept us as disciples. We will cooperate together and make sure we teach that Sun Mo a good lesson. Also, I will defeat all his disciples. Zuan bared his teeth when he said this. Each word was dripping with blood. Ziping had a look of reluctance on his face. Although he didn't hold Qin Feng in high regard, he knew that after they were publicly rejected by Sun Mo, it isn't going to be easy for them to acknowledge another master. who wouldn't have pride? If there was a teacher that accepted the Z brothers which Sun Mo didn't want, wouldn't that be saying that they were inferior to Sun Mo? Picking up the leftover vegetables that no one wanted. It wouldn't be pleasant to hear. You want to acknowledge me as your master now? It's too late. As for taking revenge, I'll do it myself. After Qin Fen spoke, he turned and left directly. He was someone who had been abandoned by this pair of brothers earlier. How could he accept them again? If a graduate of the Jixia Learning Palace didn't even have a little bit of ambition like this, he might as well commit suicide. As they watched Qin Fen depart, a bitter look appeared on Zhu Ping's face. What should we do? What can we do? Let's think of a way to enter the Myriad Do's Academy. Zuan no longer had any face to stay here. After they exited the school, he turned his head back and looked. Just wait and see. I will definitely kill my way back and make Sun Mo, who underestimates me, kneel before me. I'll make him admit that what happened today was the greatest mistake he ever made in his life. In the headmaster office, during the evening, the sounds of Zilin's pants could be heard as she rushed over. Eldest miss, have you heard? Zilin was very anxious. Heard about what? Xin Huai stood before the window. The white robes she was wearing were free from dust. Sun Mo was victorious in the competition between him and Qin Fen. Zilin spoke. After that, anger rose in her heart. The crucial point is that although he had won, why did he still have to humiliate the Zhu brothers? And? Xin Huai asked. After losing so much face, the Zhu brothers would definitely go to another school. I've checked. The aptitudes of the brothers aren't bad. Zilin was extremely anxious. Right now, our school needs a supply of good students, and we cannot miss out on any one of them. Also, what qualifications does Sun Mo have to reject others? Why can't he reject them? Xin Huai's tone was calm. He is just an intern teacher. From Zilin's point of view, Sun Mo should be extremely happy to the point of burning incense if there were students willing to follow him. How would he have the qualifications to be picky? Xin Huai fell silent. Qin Fen is also stupid enough. He must have looked down on Sun Mo because Sun Mo is from Zhongzhou Academy. In the end, he suffered instead. He definitely has learned a lesson. Qin Fen was someone the eldest miss had recruited. Hence, Zilin had high hopes for him. She didn't expect he would screw up so badly right at the start. This would cause those in the higher echelons of the school to doubt her judgment ability. Are you done? Xin Huai pressed her brows center. If you are finished, go and prepare 1,000 tals of silver and send them to teacher Zhu Song for me. Ah? What's wrong? Zilin was startled. When she thought of Liu Wenyan yesterday, she couldn't help but ask in shock. Don't tell me he also resigned. Right. Xin Huai drew in a deep breath. Zilin subconsciously glanced at the desk, and there were 3 letters of resignation there. This caused her heart to tremble violently. Who else resigned? Look at them yourself. Xin Huai didn't wish to mention these names. Zilin grabbed the letters and after she looked at them, she called out, Qin Fen also resigned? After losing so much face, could he still stay on? If Qin Fen didn't leave, Xin Huai would be disappointed. A good teacher should have their pride. No way, we have to get him back. He's a graduate of the Jixia Learning Palace. Zilin panicked. This year, we only recruited 3 graduates from the 9 greats. If one of them left, the Myriad Do's Academy would definitely ridicule us to the death. Recently, the job-hopping trend was very serious in school. If the school couldn't even retain a teacher, their reputation would surely plummet. If they couldn't even attract graduates from the 9 greats, it meant that the school no longer had any attractive side to them. One must know that in the student recruitment meet 10 years ago, there would always be a publicity segment saying how many intern teachers from the 9 greats there were that year. Qin Fen should still be at a place not far from the school's entrance. Xin Huai laughed softly. Zilin didn't understand. He lost his face, and the only way he can gain them back is to resign and wait for me to invite him. Xin Huai glanced at the campus's grounds, no longer wanting to explain. The Central Province Academy might have declined, but they had not fallen so low as to beg those who had resigned to come back. Even if the school was demolished, they had to be demolished standing. Naturally, Qin Fen had lost and he didn't match Xin Huai's aesthetic sense. As the top graduate of the Heavenly Mystery Academy of Cloud Province, Her level of judgment was very high. Since she had already judged wrongly once, she wouldn't make the same mistake again. Zilin no longer said anything as she understood the eldest Miss's temper the most. Once she made a decision, she wouldn't change it. Besides, the eldest Miss hated those who schemed against her the most. HMPH, wanting to use the eldest Miss to elevate his own status. Stop dreaming. Go and give this to teacher Zusong. Xin Huai instructed. Zilin glanced at Zusong's resignation letter. A look of unhappiness appeared on her face. That fellow said that he was already old and useless. Today, when he saw Sun Mo's performance, he felt very gratified and congratulated headmaster and for finding such a good fiancée. Also, with young teachers like Xiuk Sun and Liu Mu Bai, there was no need to worry about the school's future. Hence, he could set his heart at ease and retire. All these words are nonsense. That old man even said that he wanted to share life and death with our school just a month ago. Right now, he clearly cannot withstand the pressure and wished to step away from this pile of muddy water. Zilin wanted to tear the resignation letter into pieces. Could Sun Mo be considered a good fiancé? Zusong must be blind. Just do it according to my instructions. Xin Huai didn't wish to explain. She still had many things she needed to do. All right then. Zilin had no solutions and could only do as she was asked. Before she left, she added a reminder. Eldest Miss, it's better that you quickly go and warn that Sun Mo. He better stop creating trouble. Not long after Zilin left, she ran back extremely urgently. After she checked up on Sun Mo, she discovered that there was an even crazier thing that guy had done compared to rejecting their Zhu brothers. He had rebutted the one-star teacher Lian Zheng, who was the year's head, and also recruited a bunch of rubbish students. No way. We cannot let Sun Mo continue wreaking havoc. What if he angered teacher Lian so much that he decided to leave? Lian Zheng is a solid supporter of the eldest Miss. Chapter 54, Headhunting from the Zhongzhou Academy. Sun Mo publicly rebutted teacher Lian. The rays of the setting sun penetrated the windows, cascading on Xin Huai's startled face. Her childhood sweetheart shouldn't have such courage. In order to become an official teacher, Sun Mo's actions were unscrupulous. I've investigated it. That student named Jiang Leng had many damaged spirit runes on his body. This proved that in the past, he was looked upon highly by a great teacher that specialized in spirit runes. However, maybe because his talent was insufficient, he got abandoned. Jiang Leng is clearly trash that someone tossed away. Why did Sun Mo pick him up? Zilin panted as her chest heaved. There must be a reason why Jiang Leng had so many spirit runes on his body. Before things were clear, regardless of whether the reasons were good or bad, an ordinary person would have definitely chosen to watch first. However, Sun Mo had directly recruited Jiang Leng. Truly, no medicine could cure retardedness. I understand. Xin Huai's expression was as calm as ever. This was something her grandfather taught her. Even if she was in extreme panic, she had to maintain a composed external appearance. Zilin kept jabbering on and didn't leave. Xin Huai wanted to focus on her job, but she was also filled with some worry with regard to Sun Mo. Hence, she decided to take a trip outside. About the contempt Zilin had for Sun Mo, Xin Huai actually didn't like it very much. However, she knew that Zilin was saying all of these for her own good. Hence, she didn't berate her. Her situation in the Central Province Academy was simply too bad. The two factions belonging to Zhang Hanfu and Wang Su were extremely overbearing. Her own authority was the weakest and there weren't many people around her that she could depend on. If she chased her trusted aide who had been working for her for almost 10 years away, what would the others think? Zilin's abilities might not be sufficient, but she was loyal enough. Under the setting sun, Qin Fen stood at a location not far from the school gate, feeling trepidation in his heart. Wouldn't Xin Huai come out for him? Most probably yes, right? After all, he was someone she personally chose. She should have some patience toward him, right? However, why did no one come to find him despite having waited for so long? As the sun gradually set, Qin Fen's heart sank to the bottom of the valley. Although the summer wind was quite hot, his entire body felt ice cold. he was given up by Xin Huai. Gin Fen's hand shook. He carried up the luggage beside him and wavered as he walked a few steps forward. He soon couldn't bear it and turned his head back. The school gate of the Central Province Academy was solemn and silent. He had wanted to become a great teacher here and help Xin Huai restructure the school, allowing it to be part of the 9 greats once again. After that, with his effort, he wanted to win Xin Huai's heart and marry her. He would then become the headmaster of the Central Province Academy while leaving a heavy brushstroke on the great teacher rankings of the 9 provinces. Yet, before his dream even began, it was already shattered. Sun Mo, it's all because of you. Gin Fen clenched his fist as he bit his lips tightly. He took another few steps forward and subconsciously turned his head once more. There was no one behind. A self-mocking smile appeared on Gin Fen's face. That was right. Xin Huai was a genius from the Heavenly Mystery Academy, a rare talent of the century. She was someone with beauty and intelligence, and a ranker on the devastating beauty rankings. Wanting to use such a figure's status to get back the pride he lost? How laughable. Xin Huai definitely saw through this. That was why she didn't appear. You must have felt that my talent is not enough, and I'm not worthy for you to persuade. Gin Fen mumbled to himself. After thinking through this point, he picked up his luggage. He cast a deep look for a few minutes at the school gate and departed. Just wait. Sun Mo, I will definitely kill my way back. Also, Xin Huai, I will let you know that your decision is a mistake. At you. Sun Mo sneezed. Lu Ziyuo, who was like a puppy following behind him, instantly took out a handkerchief and passed it over. Because it was already quite late, Li Ziqi had already returned home. However, why did Rongbo still follow Sun Mo? Just say it out directly if you have something to say. Let me make things clear first. I'm not a Gilao, gay guy. Sun Mo spoke. What is a Gilao? Rongbo had already thought of something to say, but when he heard this term, something that he had never heard before, he was confused. Sun Mo surveyed Rongbao. Were 4-star teachers so free? If he had so much free time, why didn't he go home to read novels? Forget it, my instincts tell me that Gilao isn't a good term. Rongbo decided not to continue asking. After that, he coughed and spoke in a solemn term. I admire you very much. I already said that I'm not a Gilao. Sun Mo furrowed his brows and took 2 steps back. Ah? Rongbo was stunned. After that, he finally realized what Gilao meant. Wait a minute. I also don't like guys. I love small breasts the most. Sorreless Lake looked extremely beautiful during the evening. It was one of the famous places in the Central Province Academy. Those prospective students who visited the academy would definitely come here to admire it, or they would have wasted their trip here. Xin Huai felt that since Sun Mo wanted to recruit students, he would definitely not ignore this place. Hence, she searched for him in the surroundings, and as expected, she saw his figure not long later. She initially wanted to go over and greet him, but they had not met for many years and Xin Huai suddenly found it a little hard to speak to him. What should she say? Hence, she decided to follow him for now while she thought about what she wanted to say. Should I talk about matters of our lives or official matters? If I choose official matters, would it seem a little cold? Xin Huai was conflicted. After all, she had another identity, Sun Mo's fiancée. However, her attention soon turned to Rongbo. This person looked so familiar. A few minutes later, Xin Huai finally remembered. Wasn't this guy the extremely famous Rongbo? He recently rose to 4 stars and was in the Imperial Bulletin issued by the Saint Gate. Why was he together with Sun Mo? Because of curiosity, Xin Huai didn't choose to greet Sun Mo. She followed silently behind them instead. Their voices drifted over to her ears. I admire you very much. Rongbo's tone became much more formal compared to earlier. You said that before. Sun Mo's expression was calm. However, Xin Huai was shocked when she heard this. What the hell? So Rongbo was someone who liked guys? Then again it was understandable. When the red rays of the setting sun fell on Sun Mo, his clearly defined features exuded even more elegance and handsomeness. This was especially so for his eyes. They were like pools of spring water, causing everyone to generate a sense of intimacy toward him. Xin Huai didn't expect that the little boy who used to follow her everywhere when they were young was now a young man so good-looking that even guys would feel attracted to him. Oh, I mean I admire your talent. Do you want to join my team? Zhongzhou issued an invitation. Sun Mo didn't react. However, Xin Huai, who was at the back, almost cried out in shock. If it wasn't for her hand covering her red lips fast enough, she would have been discovered. What's going on? Zhongzhou admires Sun Mo's talent. Xin Huai furrowed her brows. She didn't understand it. This was especially so for these 2 days. She kept hearing Zilin complaining about Sun Mo's atrocious behavior. Yet now, Xin Huai saw a 4-star teacher wanting to recruit Sun Mo. This feeling of shock was as incredulous as the sight of a crow transforming into a phoenix. It seemed like Zilin must have mistaken something due to her prejudice toward Sun Mo. Continue. Sun Mo knew some supervisors of famous schools who loved to invite various teachers that specialized in different secondary occupations and gather them to form a team. This was the so-called Great Teacher Group. Because there were many people with different secondary occupations, it meant that the number of shortcomings would be lesser. When there was an alliance like this, it was easier for them to compete against other great teachers. One must know that for great teachers, regardless of their increase in realms or deeper research into secondary occupations, both required a great amount of resources. At the very least, they should never lack money. For a great teacher group of great power, they wouldn't lack any resources. Please allow me to formally introduce myself. My name is Zhongzhou. I'm from the Song country of the Jing province, and I'm a 4-star great teacher. 3 months ago, I was headhunted by Headmaster Cao of the Zhongzhou Academy of Jinling City, and I obtained the position of the year's head. Zhongzhou spoke frankly with assurance. His square face was calm and composed, exhibiting the graceful bearing of a 4-star great teacher. There was no need to hear about the position. Just the title of a 4-star great teacher was sufficient to cause Lu Xiaoruo to exclaim in shock. To her, a 4-star great teacher was an existence she had to admire. And such an existence was formally headhunting her own teacher now. Teacher Sun is so awesome. Lu Xiaoruo felt a little agitated. I'm truly too fortunate that I was able to acknowledge him as my master. Ding. Favorable impression points from Lu Xiaoruo plus 30. Prestige connection with Lu Xiaoruo, friendly. 143 1,000ths. Xin Huai, who was hiding behind a mulberry tree, was extremely stunned. What had Sun Mo done exactly? Why was he held in such high regard by Zhongzhou? However, very soon after, Xin Huai felt a huge sense of pressure. D-grade and C-grade schools didn't have enough attractiveness for 4-star great teachers. Hence, if one wanted to headhunt them, one had to spend an extremely great price. Headmaster Cao of the Zhongzhou Academy had invested so much capital into this. In that case, didn't that mean that the Central Province Academy would always be suppressed to the extent where they would never overturn the situation? Zhongzhou stared at Sun Mo and discovered that there were no fluctuations in his expression. Sun Mo was so calm, like he was facing the canteen auntie asking him if he wanted to eat porridge or something else for breakfast. This made him admire Sun Mo even more. In the past, when he had hunted 6 teachers, all of them pretended to be calm and composed upon learning his identity. Yet, they weren't able to conceal the excitement and agitation in their hearts. Being able to be chosen by a 4-star teacher was a type of recognition and praise. If word of this spread out, everyone would envy them for a long time. Through divine sight, Sun Mo already knew that Zhongzhou was a 4-star teacher. Hence, why would he be surprised now? Naturally, the most important thing was that Sun Mo just arrived in this world, and he still hadn't fully understood the weight of a 4-star great teacher. Also, the sounds of the system notifications were ringing in his ear. Ding. Congratulations. The prestige connection between you and Lu Xiaoruo reached friendly. Reward. 1 black iron treasure chest. Continue to work hard. A shiny metallic treasure chest appeared before Sun Mo. This was naturally better looking than Zhongzhou's square face. I initially came to this school to headhunt Liu Mubai and Inspect Gixuk-sun, but I think you are more outstanding than them. Zhongzhou directly looked into Sun Mo's eyes. You are praising me too much. Sun Mo understood his own weightage. No, you shouldn't be unduly humble. In terms of teaching ability, you might be inferior to Liu Mubai and Gixuk-sun. However, I admire your character very much. This was the sixth sense honed through the many years of experience as a great teacher. Thank you. Sun Mo laughed lightly while musing in his heart that no matter what, he was still someone who had 6 years of experience as a teacher in charge. In order to better educate the students and form a better relationship with them, the number of books he had bought cost over several $1,000s in total. Psychological books, philosophy books, and there were even over 10 books about acting skills. Number 2 high school was a prominent school. Sun Mo didn't simply depend on his teaching abilities to get a main role within 6 years. I wish to invite you to join my group. There's no need for any test, and you can directly obtain a formal teacher's contract of the Zhongzhou Academy. Also, I will promise to give you the various resources you need to help you level up. Zhongzhou stated his price. Since he wanted to poach someone over, he had to be willing to spend. Sun Mo fell silent because he could sense Zhongzhou's sincerity. In that case, should he leave to a teacher in charge with 6 years of experience, they would all understand the importance of having a superior that appreciated and guided them. Sun Mo and Xin Huai couldn't sit still any longer. If she put herself in Sun Mo's shoes, her heart would also be moved by this condition. Hence, she walked out from behind the mulberry tree and asked, "What are you doing here?" Chapter 55. First meeting with Xin Huai. The sudden sound of someone speaking caused Sun Mo and the 2 others to turn their heads. Under the orange glow of the setting sun, Xin Huai stood in the forest. The night wind that gusted over from the lake caused the corners of her robes to flutter. Due to overexhaustion, Xin Huai's skin was pale and her figure was a little skinny. However, her gaze was as sharp as ever. Sun Mo smiled. This was the look of a successful career woman. The sharpness in Xin Huai's eyes flashed and disappeared. After that, her large eyes, where the shades of white and black were distinct, became filled with gentleness. She automatically showed approachability, causing people who looked at her to feel an extremely favorable impression of her. The first reaction of Lu Xiuyue when she saw Zhongzhou was fear and respect. And now when she saw Xin Huai, it was one of amicability. She felt like she had met an elder female neighbor who was smiling at her gently, asking her if she wanted to eat pineapple sweets together. How classy. Sun Mo involuntarily praised. Xin Huai's beauty would make it so that if she entered the entertainment industry, she wouldn't need acting skills and only needed to be a vase. Many males would be happy enough to reach in their wallets to purchase movie tickets just for a glance at her. Even if they needed to pee, they would rather hold it in than to miss any of her scenes. Her demeanor was even more outstanding. It was those types of demeanors that would cause people to forget her beauty and notice her demeanor. Simply speaking, Xin Huai's aura was immensely strong. One must know that Zhongzhou was a 4-star teacher, and his aura was very strong too. But when Xin Huai appeared, it was like the voice of the guest overwhelmed that of the host. It caused everyone to involuntarily pay attention to only her. Xin Huai no longer spoke. She looked at Sun Mo, surveying this childhood sweetheart of hers whom she had not met for many years. He was much taller. Maybe it was because he just graduated, but she could still see the underripe look on his face. His fingers were lanky, and his nails were clean. He wore the light blue robe for intern teachers and there were no creases on it. Just from a look, she could tell that he was a man that cared about details. Headmaster Sun Mo spoke. His lips curled lightly as a fresh, sunshine-like aura instantly emitted forth. Ah, he must have practiced this smile for 6 months or more. Xin Huai guessed. She couldn't control it and felt like laughing. But the expression on her face didn't change. Zhongzhou was naturally acquainted with Xin Huai. Hence, his brows began to furrow. There were no solutions to this. When it came to the snatching of talented men, a beautiful great teacher had a natural advantage. In addition, Xin Huai was extremely famous and had several halos of glory. Other than her great teacher's level being inferior to him and the Central Province Academy had declined and was insufficiently qualified, Xin Huai had no other shortcomings. I hope Sun Mo isn't a shallow man who wouldn't leave just because of a beautiful woman. Zhongzhou muttered to himself. After that, he stepped forth and started his attack. Headmaster is so idle. Why don't you enjoy the scenery together with us? Zhongzhou's words sounded relaxed, but if Xin Huai's reply was incautious, she would be expressing a negative image where she wasn't serious about her work. One must know that today was still the student recruitment meet. The busiest person should be the headmaster. My teacher is about to be poached away. I naturally have to come and stop it. Yet, I couldn't be bothered to cross swords verbally. She went straight to the point. Zhongzhou frowned. I was truly like what the rumors said. She wasn't easy to deal with. No wonder Headmaster Cao of the Wushuang Academy had to employ him. According to what Headmaster Cao said, if it wasn't for Xinhui taking over the Central Province Academy, this school would have long since been removed from the list due to his suppression, vanishing into history. The Central Academy province has already declined. You guys are ranked at the bottom of the D grade. After this year's league tournament concludes, if you guys are still at the bottom, your school would directly be removed from the list. Rather than letting Teacher Sun waste his talent here, why don't you let him follow me to the Zhongzhou Academy, creating brand new heaven and earth there? Zhongzhou retaliated. At the same time, he cast a glance at Sun Mo, and Xinhui's words, be it whether they were sincere or not, had expressed her high regard for Sun Mo and her recognition for him. If it was another guy here instead of Sun Mo, that person would surely feel a little proud and complacent. After all, he had obtained the high regard of a beautiful headmaster. However, Zhongzhou discovered that Sun Mo's expression was so calm that it was as though they were the canteen aunties asking him what he wanted for breakfast. There were no fluctuations at all. Sun Mo's lips twitched. Zhongzhou's words were truly filled with killing intent. Bottom ranked, removed from the list. Sir, as a 4-star great teacher and an extremely popular character in the great teacher circle, you didn't want to go to any of the A-grade schools or one of the 9 greats. Weren't you headhunted by Headmaster Cao to deal with my Central Province Academy? Xinhui retorted sarcastically. Haha, Headmaster Cao overestimates your Central Academy province too much. Zhongzhou laughed loudly. Although the truth was this, he would not admit to it. Speaking of creating brand new heaven and earth, I remember that Headmaster Cao's greatest wish is to make the Zhongzhou Academy rise to the A-grade. As for my Central Province Academy, our greatest wish is to return to the rankings of the 9 greats. Xinhui spoke frankly with assurance. Is there anything more legendary than leading a school that has declined back into the ranks of the 9 greats? How awesome! Zhongzhou silently praised. Xinhui's debating skills were very outstanding. Also, when she was speaking, her points were clear and arranged properly. She involuntarily shifted the topic toward an area that was advantageous for her. If Sun Mo could achieve this point, he would definitely leave behind a heavy brushstroke in the history of the great teacher circle. His statue would also stand tall and upright in the school, and he would be revered by students of countless generations. Xinhui stated, very grand ambitions. But the prerequisite is that it must be possible to accomplish. Zhongzhou sneered. He didn't dare to think about such a thing. Oh, are you saying you don't believe in Sun Mo? Xinhui immediately found a loophole and launched her attack. Zhongzhou started, silently musing that things looked bad. However, he also wasn't easy to deal with. He shifted the topic. Teacher Sun, as long as you are willing to join my group, you will obtain a large amount of resources. Firstly, let's talk about salary. No matter how much Headmaster An is offering, I will give you 3 times that. After his words rang out, Xinhui felt her heart pounding. Let alone a great teacher, for an ordinary person working a job, it was precisely because of 2 reasons. The first was due to dreams and ambitions. The second was to earn a large amount of money. Now, Zhongzhou wasn't simply talking about ambitions, he was willing to pay a high sum too. It was really hard for Xinhui to handle this. 3 times the salary? You are regarding him so highly? Xinhui had no way to match the price. She was very poor. Haha, that's only natural. For a person that I, Zhongzhou, regard highly, he is definitely worth this amount. Why can Headmaster An not follow? Zhongzhou continued to push. This was his confidence. Although Xinhui was a headmaster, even if the Central Province Academy had no infighting and she was the sole person in charge, she wouldn't dare to recklessly increase Sun Mo's salary. If not, What would the other teachers think? Teacher, you've already spoken that your current position is the year's head. How is it possible that you have such great authority? Xin doubted. Haha, you are a headmaster. You should know that it isn't so easy for a school to be flexible. However, Headmaster Cao has already settled the dissidents. In less than a month, I will become the vice headmaster and have a portion of funds that I can allocate according to my will. Rongbo looked directly at Xin while silently saying that she was still too young. Xin fell into silence. She could feel extremely great pressure. That was right. If Headmaster Cao wanted to headhunt a 4-star great teacher, he definitely had to pay a huge price. If not, why would Rongbo, someone who had better choices available to him, join the Zhongzhou Academy? Wow, what's this? They are vying for a teacher? Lu Xiaoyuo, who was watching at the side, was so nervous that her little hands were tugging at her shirt. Her palms were filled with sweat. One was a 4-star teacher, the other was the headmaster of the Central Province Academy. These two major characters were actually vying for Teacher Sun. Lu Xiaoyuo gazed at Sun Mo with worship in her eyes. Teacher Sun, you are so awesome. Ding. Favorable impression points from Lu Xiaoyuo plus 30. Prestige connection with Lu Xiaoyuo, friendly. 173 1,000ths. Oi, is it that you want to become my fan? Upon hearing the system's notification, Sun Mo involuntarily stretched out his hand and patted Lu Xiaoyuo on her head. Ah! Lu Xiaoyuo instantly leaned her head to the side. Her eyes narrowed like she was a Siamese cat who was enjoying Sun Mo's patting. Teacher Sun, currently the Central Province Academy is besieged with internal and external troubles. Zhang Hanfu and Wang Su weren't easy to deal with. Also, with your relationship as Xin Huai's fiancée, they would definitely suppress you, even if you are overflowing with talent. Don't even think about displaying it. Why not join my group? Let's create the #1 great teacher group under the heavens together. Rongbo stretched out his right hand. He stared at Sun Mo with sincerity in his gaze. Xin Huai could only be silent. Rongbo's words were all true. He also considered the aspects of ambitions and salary for Sun Mo. This was already an extremely sincere offer. If it was some other teachers, they might even be filled with so much gratefulness that they would thank him while shedding tears, speaking so many words of gratitude like they wanted to offer their lives in sacrifice. However, Xin Huai was someone with a pure heart and mind. How would she give up so easily? She didn't say anything, but her eyes looked toward Sun Mo. There was hope, trepidation, and a trace of pitifulness in it. This gaze was enough to stir up the protective desire of any men. Xin Huai, you actually used such a move. Rongbo was so angered that he almost coughed out blood. However, he still maintained the graceful bearing of a great teacher. He couldn't possibly argue with a woman over this, right? In any case, even if he wanted to argue, he had no solutions to do so. He couldn't possibly use the same gaze to look at Sun Mo. He was really infuriated. If he knew he would run into Xin Huai today, he would also pull a few beautiful teachers along to help him out. With so many beautiful teachers, he didn't believe that a young and vigorous man like Sun Mo would be able to withstand his offer. Lu Xiaoyuo was even more nervous. No matter where her teacher went, she would definitely follow him all the way. Sun Mo glanced at Rongbo's hand. After that, he swung his hand and slammed it onto the ground before he began to clap. Brother, I thank you for your appreciation. However, I have a shortcoming. Wherever I suffer losses, I definitely have to earn back my capital at that place. There are so many people here who call me a guy that sponges off a woman. If you were me, how would you handle it? Sun Mo smiled as he asked. How would you handle it? Rongbo counter-asked. I will naturally snatch all their rice bowls and make sure they don't have any rice to eat. Sun Mo smiled. His gaze was filled with sincerity as he looked at Rongbo. I'm very sorry to have to let down brother's appreciation of me. Sun Mo was sincerely apologizing. This was because he could sense the high regard Rongbo had for him. This caused him to be reminded of his old headmaster in his previous world who had also recognized his worth and chosen to employ him, helping him to fend off the pressure, letting him become a teacher in charge, and allowing him to display his brilliance. Don't assume this was just a chance. For some people, they wouldn't have such a chance in their entire lives. Note:
being a vase equals just have to look pretty and do nothing. Chapter 56, Super Mission. Zhongzhou stared attentively at Sun Mo. Although he was rejected, he didn't become angry from embarrassment. In fact, he admired Sun Mo's character instead. It's true. Since they say that I sponge off women, I will snatch all their rice bowls then. These words were truly tyrannical, and Xinhui could no longer continue acting when she heard this. She didn't expect the reason for Sun Mo's rejection would be this. Sun Mo, she muttered her childhood sweetheart's name silently. A trace of shock appeared in Xinhui's beautiful eyes. In the end, the emotions in her eyes transformed into admiration. She didn't expect that this young kid who used to follow behind her had finally grown up. Wow! Teacher Sun is so tyrannical. Lu Xiuo agitatedly wanted to clap. If he left like this, those who didn't know Sun Mo might misunderstand and thought he was slinking away with his tail between his legs. So, if he wanted to leave, he had to slap the faces of those who looked down on him first before he left. The sun had almost set completely, but the sun wouldn't vanish. It set now so it could glow even more resplendently tomorrow morning. I understand you. Zhongzhou took his hand back. However, after hearing your words, I don't want to give up even more. Sun Mo, the door to the Zhongzhou Academy will always be open to you. As long as you are willing to come over, no matter what requests you have, it won't be a problem. In that case, farewell. Zhongzhou nodded to Xinhui before he turned to depart. Sun Mo didn't say anything, and Xinhui also didn't know what to say. Hence, the atmosphere was a little awkward now. What should I do? Should I act like when I was little and call her elder sister Xinhui? Or should I call her my wife? But would I be beaten to death if I call her that? Sun Mo self-mocked. Although his original self had already died, his memories still contained a deep longing for Xinhui. Hence, Sun Mo could feel his heart pounding rapidly now. Little Momo, Xinhui didn't like such an atmosphere. Hence, she wanted to break the awkwardness. However, the moment she spoke, she called out Sun Mo's nickname when he was young. What the hell is Little Momo? Sun Mo was astonished. This was so embarrassing. Amen, Xinhui started. After that, she lifted her hand and patted Sun Mo's forehead. Why? Because you have grown up, you don't want to recognize me as an elder sister anymore? After saying this and doing the action she used to do when they were young, Xinhui suddenly laughed. This wasn't an act. It was a smile from the bottom of her heart because she recalled those wonderful times during their childhood. Sun Mo didn't know what to say. He could only continue to smile. Sun Mo, thank you for staying behind. After Xinhui laughed, her tone became solemn and she changed the way she addressed him. How about it? Please work with me to improve this school, allowing it to return to the ranks of the 9 greats. Alright. Do you believe I can do it? Sun Mo counter-asked. As long as you believed so, you will definitely be able to. Xinhui engaged in sophistry. Sisterin, your words are very cunning. Sun Mo teased her. If Xinhui truly believed he could help the Central Province Academy to return to the peak of the famous schools in the 9 provinces, she must be retarded. Xinhui was very busy. After exchanging a few more sentences, she bid Sun Mo farewell and departed. Sun Mo stood at the side of the sorrowless lake as he stared at the campus where the night was about to fall. His expression was complicated. System, can I still return home? If you pass the test of the absolute great teacher system, you can naturally return home to your world. The system gave an answer, causing Sun Mo's spirit to stir. How do I pass the test? Complete all the various missions the system issues. The system's explanation was simple and concise. That's no different than not giving an answer. Sun Mo furrowed his brows so hard they could crush a crab. In that case, set a small target first. In 1 year, you have to help the Central Province Academy obtain one of the top 3 rankings in the D-grade league tournament and successfully rise to the C grade. The system suggested. Are you joking? In a year, he wouldn't have a stable footing in the school yet. From the meaning of Zhongzhou's words, the Central Province Academy had 2 bosses named Zhang Hanfu and Wang Su. Ding. Mission issued. Within a year, help the Central Province Academy gain one of the top 5 rankings in the D-grade league tournament. Reward: 3 diamond treasure chest. Very good. The requirements were relaxed by 2 spots.
But what was the use of this? Upon seeing the 3 diamond treasure chest rewards, he already knew how difficult this mission was. Sun Mo wanted to hit someone the moment he heard about this mission. You should be content. If it wasn't for me stopping it, you might have been given the mission of making the Central Province Academy rise back to the rankings of the 9 greats. The system expressed, but it had something it didn't tell Sun Mo. It was impossible for Sun Mo to leave the Central Province Academy and join Rongbo's great teacher group. The system would prevent it for sure. If Sun Mo left, he would be given a death punishment and would be raised. Back in his world, Sun Mo had been pushed by the female student Zumiao into the lake. He didn't die, but somehow crossed over to the Jinling city of Tang country. The reason for his crossover was precisely because of the Central Province Academy. If this academy was removed from the list of famous schools and abolished, Sun Mo would instantly die. Naturally, the system didn't feel the need to tell Sun Mo about this. Alright, alright. Alright. You are the great benefactor. Sun Mo pointed a middle finger at the system. He called out to Lu Xiaoruo and they went to the canteen for their meals. Lu Xiaoruo wasn't a picky eater and ate whatever Sun Mo ordered. It was just that after a few meals, she felt a little embarrassed because Sun Mo had never asked her to pay before. Just eat when I tell you to eat. In Sun Mo's eyes, Lu Xiaoruo was still a child. How could he ask her to go Dutch? Hence, even if he didn't have enough savings, he had to persist all the way to the end. Dinner was steamed rice, 2 dishes of seasonal vegetables, and a plate of beef. The beef was for Lu Xiaoruo to supplement her body. Honestly speaking, the large breasts of this papaya girl made her uniform look like it was on the verge of exploding. Sun Mo was afraid that if she continued to nourish and supplement her body, her large breasties would become super breasties. Amen. Lu Xiaoruo lowered her head and continued eating. Occasionally, she would use her chopsticks and pick up large pieces of meat, only to place them in Sun Mo's bowl. She was so obedient, like a cat raised by a family. After finishing the meal, Sun Mo patted Lu Xiaoruo on the head and told her to return to the warehouse where she was staying temporarily. As for himself, he headed back in the direction of his dorm while opening the iron-black treasure chest he had obtained during the afternoon. Ding! Congratulations, you obtained a fragmented map, 1/5. The map will reveal a certain terrain. If you want the complete layout, you have to obtain the other 4 pieces of the map. The system's notification was filled with an ancient aura. Sun Mo glanced at it. This fragmented map was made from beast skin. The tactile feel wasn't bad, but the content of the map was indistinct. There was basically no way to distinguish it. Is there a need to be so mysterious? Sun Mo was instantly unhappy. From the meaning of the notification, it meant that if he wanted to see the content, he had to get all 5 pieces of the map. Do you think this is Dragon Ball? The items given out as rewards would all have value, the system declared, including the clumps of soil I obtained every day from the lucky treasure chests. Sun Mo counter-asked. The system suddenly fell silent. It wanted to ask if Sun Mo could just chat cheerfully. Who knew when he would be able to get the 4 remaining pieces of the map? Hence, Sun Mo placed the map into the black-colored storage cabinet. In the dorm, the atmosphere was oppressive. When Sun Mo saw that Yuan Feng's bed was empty, he started for a while and didn't pay any more attention to that. Yuan Feng took the initiative to resign. Now, it was still the graduation period, and it was easier for him to find other schools to join. If he was persuaded to leave by headmaster An or fired, it would be much more difficult if he wanted to look for another school. This was because no schools would want to accept a teacher with stains in their reputation. Hence, Yuan Feng quickly resigned and fled before Jin Muji reported to Xin Huai. Lu Dai sat at the side of the table and was plucking the fur from a plate of pig trotters. When he saw Sun Mo had returned, he initially wanted to ask if Sun Mo knew where Yuan Feng was. But after glancing at Zhang Sheng, he decided to endure the impulse. Zhang Sheng wasn't fond of Sun Mo. If Lu Dai spoke to him, Zhang Sheng would definitely be unhappy. Sigh. Pig trotters were still the best. No matter how smart or stupid you were, it would do its best to fill your stomach. When he thought of this, Lu Dai began to pluck the fur even more gently. Zhang Sheng lay on his bed, stewing in anger. The student recruitment meet had lasted for 2 days, but he hadn't even recruited a single student yet. Such an abysmal result directly dealt a blow to this conceited intern teacher. If this fist had corporeal form, he would not only get a nosebleed, but quite a few of his teeth would also be shattered. Luckily, Zhang Sheng had an agreement with 3 students. Once he became a substitute teacher, after 2 months of probation, they would officially acknowledge him as their master. Such a method was commonly seen in school. A period of 2 months was sufficient for the students and teacher to mutually understand each other. If everyone was satisfied, they would proceed with the master-student ceremony. If not, they would simply part without any hard feelings. Naturally, because of how respected teachers were in the 9 provinces, such things couldn't be done in plain sight, and these would all be discussed privately. HMPH, when I become famous, you guys better kowtow until your heads bleed if you want to become my disciples. Zhang Sheng mumbled to himself. After he cast a glance at Sun Mo, his mood became much better. This fool definitely hadn't recruited a student. However, there were rumors spreading saying that Sun Mo had recruited Xuan Yuan Po. These people truly didn't have brains. Xuan Yuan Po didn't even hold Liu Mu Bai in high regard. How would he have chosen Sun Mo? Even if one took 10,000 steps back, even if Liu Mu Bai wanted Xuan Yuan Po, Sun Mo wouldn't have a chance. For a good seedling like Xuan Yuan Po, he was even worth a 1-star great teacher rolling up their sleeves to snatch him. One must know that one of the hard conditions to become a 2-star teacher was for one's personal disciple to be ranked in the Green Cloud rankings. Hence, if one couldn't recruit students with extraordinary aptitudes, it would mean that they had to be stuck as 1-star great teachers forever. The cries of birds could be heard in the early morning. Zhang Sheng woke up very early. He saw Lu Dai rubbing his eyes, struggling to get up the bed while Sun Mo was still sleeping. Zhang Sheng's lips involuntarily curled up into a smile filled with superiority. If one wanted to be more successful than the others, they had to pay 10x more effort in comparison. Sun Mo was so lazy, he didn't even need to dream about recruiting 5 students in his entire life. He would never successfully become an official teacher. Zhang Sheng, work hard. You will definitely be able to recruit 5 students today. Zhang Sheng encouraged himself. He was prepared to stroll about the office building's surroundings and encounter An Xin Huai. He heard that the headmaster had been extremely busy from morning until night during these few days and had decided to stay in the office. If she saw me being so hardworking, she would definitely view me in a new favorable light, right? When Zhang Sheng thought of this, he involuntarily smiled. After that, he pushed open the door and immediately retracted his smile. His expression became one of seriousness. There was a girl currently sitting with her back against the wall. Her hands hugged her knees as she napped. Because of this action, the 2 breast ears so large that they resembled papayas were squeezed until they almost changed forms. Her clothes were so tight that they almost burst. It felt like her clothes might tear at any moment. Upon hearing the sound of a door opening, the girl inclined her head in a daze. Truly fresh and pure. Zhang Sheng praised silently. This little lady in green had such pure and innocent eyes. There were no impurities within, and he could tell with a single glance that she was inexperienced in society. She hadn't been tainted by the world yet. Speaking of which, could she have come here because she heard of my name? Did she want to take me as her master? Just as Zhang Sheng was preparing to speak, the papaya girl glanced at him and continued to nap. Damn. Sun Mo, do you still want face or not? Why are you hiring actors every few days to brush up your reputation? Zhang Sheng inclined his neck and was as proud as a swan. When he walked past Lu Xiaoyuo, he was filled with silent anticipation in his heart that this girl might be awed by his elegant manner. Teacher. The girl suddenly called out. Zhang Sheng quivered instantly. As expected, one should always have dreams. He revealed the smile that he had been practicing privately for 6 months as he turned his head and spoke. Student, you are calling for me? Chapter 57, Invulnerable Glaze Golden Body. There was no sound around except for the summer breeze. Zhang Sheng's facial expression turned from hopeful to stunned. She could have just continued talking in her dreams. Must she have shouted teacher? It was ridiculous. It got him excited for nothing. Zhang Sheng stared at Lu Xiaoyuo while dragging his footsteps down the stairs, but until the end, she didn't have any intention of acknowledging him as her master. Humphrey. One day, even if you were to acknowledge me as your master, I will not agree to it. Zhang Sheng cursed. I must also recruit a female student with bigger breasts than this papaya girl. Sun Mo went out and saw Lu Xiaoyuo sleeping. Her saliva was almost flowing out. Cough cough. Sun Mo coughed and pinned the wooden blade on his left waist. When Lu Xiaoyuo heard the sounds, she jumped up immediately with a bow and greeted, "Teacher, good morning." "Okay." Sun Mo nodded his head. "Let's go and eat." Hence, Sun Mo walked in front with Lu Xiaoyuo tagging behind like a big-breasted little tail. They headed toward the canteen. Their usual breakfast consisted of porridge, egg chives buns, as well as a small plate of salted vegetables. Lu Xiaoyuo's meal was more sumptuous as it had 2 more eggs. Lu Xiaoyuo peeled off the eggshells and passed it to Sun Mo first. "I bought it for you." Sun Mo didn't eat. Burp. Lu Xiaoyuo was very obedient compared to Li Ziqi, who would have started a bout of argument. This papaya girl would lower her head while eating and was always following Sun Mo's instructions. Sun Mo checked for a bit. The lucky treasure chests that he would get every midnight were lying inside a black-colored storage cabinet quietly. He planned to open them all once the number reached 18. An auspicious number? Ding! Congratulations! You have won your first match against another teacher. You achieved an accomplishment, defeated a teacher for the first time, and the prize is 1 golden treasure chest. System's notification sound rang abruptly. Sun Mo extended his hand. Touching Lu Xiaoyuo's head, he spoke calmly, "Open it." Sun Mo's tone had no sense of urgency, as though he was a veteran who had passed the flower bushes countless times. Those black fungi had no way of raising his excitement anymore. "This is a golden treasure chest. Why aren't you excited?" The system was curious. "Can the excitement increase my chance of getting a peak-grade item?" Sun Mo replied, "It can't." The system felt that Sun Mo was thinking too much. "Then why should I be excited?" Sun Mo took a small sip, enjoying the porridge's nice temperature. Then, he ate some salted vegetables to enhance the great taste. How yummy! The system was silent, having not meant it that way. But Sun Mo's words seemed to make sense. It couldn't even retaliate. "Stop dilly-dallying, open the box." Sun Mo was worried that if they continued talking, the luck he had received from the papaya girl's body would disappear. The treasure chest disappeared and a ray of golden light burst in the air, leaving behind a piece of stone tablet that was shaped like a mahjong tile but bigger. It was illuminating rays of bronze-colored light. On the stone tablet, there were carvings of totems that could not be understood by humans, giving off a mysterious vibe. "Congratulations, you have received Time Emblem. After using it, one of your skills will seem to have endured 10 years of cultivation. The proficiency index will be increased by 1 grade." Sun Mo's eyes brightened after reading the introduction, so he decided to add an egg to his porridge. This must be some good item, probably costing 1,000 favorable impression points if sold at the shopping store. "Which skill should I use it on?" Sun Mo did a self-examination. Currently, the cultivation arts he knew were Grand Universe Formulas Divine Art, which he had just begun practicing, and Immemorial Ver Arcana, Proficiency Index, Elementary. The rest were Grand Master Grade Divine Sight, Expert Grade Circulation Technique, and Grand Master Grade Muscle Forge Technique. He also had 3 great teacher halos, namely Priceless Advice, Ignorant and Incompetent, as well as an exclusive soul imprint. They were all of elementary grade. "Host, what do you think?" the system asked. "If you have a brain, you will know how to choose." Sun Mo replied ruthlessly. The system became silent instantly, too angry to talk. Divine Sight, Circulation Technique, Muscle Forge Technique, they were all of sufficient usage. Priceless Advice as well as Ignorant and Incompetent, both had great effects. Although he had never used Soul Imprint before, he knew it wouldn't be too shabby. By increasing the proficiency index, the 3 great teacher halos could be sustained for a longer period. Its effect would be increased and there would be a greater enveloping range. Even if he were to be formally employed into the faculty, he would only have 5 students. He should be able to make do with these halos for the time being. As for cultivation arts, Immemorial Ver Arcana could copy random cultivation arts of the opponents, and once it was increased by another grade, it would be able to target a specific type of cultivation art. Sun Mo decided to give up on upgrading it after a lot of consideration. Even if he was able to copy a specific type of cultivation art from his opponent, it wouldn't be very useful. The crucial factor was because Immemorial Arcana was exclusively owned by him. The mentioned effect had not been verified. As for Grand Universe Formless Divine Art, it was one of the best cultivation arts in this world. Numerous people had hoped to learn this cultivation art, so one could imagine just how great it was. Grand Universe Formless Divine Art Level 2, Invulnerable Glaze Golden Body. It would greatly increase your ability to withstand damage. If you want to learn your opponent's cultivation art, you must experience their attacks. Only once you have withstood them all will you be able to grasp its essence. Level 3, Copy. You are now able to imitate your opponent's moves, exerting similar powers and skills. Looking at the introduction of this Saint-tier cultivation art, Sun Mo had decided on it. In the 9 provinces, great martial artists were treated with respect. Hence, even though great teachers held different occupations, they still regarded teaching martial arts with the highest form of respect. Sun Mo felt that he should first increase his fighting power. Last time, the competition's content was on their capability to coach the students. But what if Sun Mo was challenged to a fight during the next round's competition? What would happen if he were to be killed or disabled by his opponent? Sun Mo had not forgotten that because of Xin Huai, many male teachers felt as though that Sun Mo had stolen their household's rice from them. They couldn't wait to punish him. Yes, it would definitely be correct to increase his fighting power. Sun Mo found an excuse and went to the toilet. While there was no one, he took out the time emblem and kneaded it into pieces. Puke. Bronze rays of light sputtered out and landed onto Sun Mo's body, leaving a layer of green fluorescent on him. Sun Mo almost burst into vulgarities. Couldn't it have used another color instead of green? However, the effect felt extraordinarily good. He could feel the warmth on his body, with many images pertaining to the Grand Universe Formless Divine Art emerging in his mind. Time flew, and it felt as though 10 years had passed. Ding! Congratulations, Grand Universe Formless Divine Art Level 1's Proficiency Index has been increased to Grand Master Grade. Level 2 Invulnerable Golden Glaze Body has been increased to Expert Grade. Please continue to improve. The system's monotonous notification sound rang. Is my aptitude that bad? Sun Mo felt that he should at least reach Level 3. If someone reached the Grand Master Grade in any skill, it would mean that they had achieved mastery in it and would be addressed as a Grand Master. If you don't spend more time building a solid foundation, then your path of cultivation will soon come to an end. System explained, this cultivation art is a Saint Tier 1, it's naturally hard to practice. Understood. Sun Mo expressed his understanding. How many favorable impression points do I have now? I should just go with level 2 then. Since my favorable impression points have increased by a bit, I could use the points to buy a new time emblem and increase the art to level 3 straight away. 983. The system replied succinctly, please continue to improve. Great. Sun Mo thought for a bit. The majority of the points were contributed by Honest Man Chi Shengjia and Papaya Girl Lu Xiaoruo. Hence, even though Lu Xiaoruo's potential value was extremely low, she could still be of use. Moreover, even if she was useless and unable to contribute favorable impression points, she had a pair of massive breasts. Massive breasts brought justice, power, popularity, love, and contribution. Of course, the most important thing was how massive breasts increased his luck. Sun Mo could feel every time he touched the Papaya Girl's head before opening the treasure chest. The chances of him getting a peak-grade item would be greatly increased. Sun Mo stopped letting his thoughts run wild. After calming his energy, he focused his attention on practicing his cultivation art. Buzz! Faint golden-colored runes immediately began to appear on Sun Mo's complexion, and they seemed abstruse and mysterious. They were even illuminating a weak but faint fluorescent, making him look more sacred and divine. What is this? It brought along the power of blinding someone's eyes. Sun Mo was speechless. But at least they weren't any nonsensical forms of runes. If they appeared to be something like a left azure dragon and a right white tiger, he'd rather not have it. Sun Mo held his fists, walked near the wall, and slammed it. Bang! Cracks shaped like spider webs started to extend on the wall. However, Sun Mo's hands didn't feel any sense of pain. If he were to do this in the toilet of number 2 high school, his finger joints would have been swollen. Invulnerable glaze golden body, it indeed had some extraordinary aspects. Sun Mo immediately brought Lu Xiaoruo to the combat strength dojo. He found a combat strength bronze man and started throwing punches. Bang bang bang. As Sun Mo's fists were launched one after another, he could feel the gradually increasing pain. After throwing a punch with all his strength, the pain on his fists became unbearable. The way you're testing is useless. Glaze golden body's defense will only increase accordingly with the state of the practitioner. However, it will never become invincible. The system's words exposed Sun Mo's intentions. He had intended to make the invulnerable glaze golden body an invincible skill that was immune to damage. Sorry, that would not be possible. I'm not that greedy. Sun Mo pouted. Anyway, the attacks from body refinement and spirit refinement realm cultivators wouldn't be able to break his glaze golden body. If he were to coach students personally with this cultivation art, he would be very safe. Sun Mo was not afraid of getting injured. He had only wanted some dignity, as it would be very disgraceful to be injured by a student. Teacher, are you still going to practice? Lu Xiaoruo asked timidly. I'll try again. Sun Mo started to use immemorial Ver Iricane against the combat strength bronze man. Unfortunately, there was no feedback received. Teacher, you can only be formally employed after recruiting 5 students. You're still short of 1. And today is already the last day of the student recruitment meet. Lu Xiaoruo felt it was necessary to remind Sun Mo, don't worry, as long as there's fate, I will definitely get a student. After Sun Mo spoke, someone continued, Teacher Sun is so calm. Lu Xiaoruo turned her head and saw a young man standing not far away. He was skinny and had a pale-looking complexion. Occasionally, there were a few sounds of him stifling his coughs. It's you? Lu Xiaoruo recognized this sickly person. What are you doing here? To acknowledge Teacher Sun as your master? Chapter 58. Looks of a genius. If I dare to acknowledge Teacher Sun as my teacher, would you dare to accept me? Tan Tang smiled in self-ridicule. There were basic requirements that teachers had when recruiting students. Although no one could really assess a person's aptitude, and they didn't have information on the student's background and experiences, they could do basic assessments from their bodies. If students wished to cultivate, they'd need to at least reach the divine force realm. Not only would they need to have healthy bodies, but they also needed to be stronger than ordinary people. Otherwise, how would they be able to withstand the hardship of cultivation? Tan Tang had a sickly constitution. He kept on coughing, occasionally even coughing hints of blood. It was as though he would fall if a strong gust of wind were to blow. Given how weak he was, there'd be no teachers who would accept him as their disciple, unless they were blind. If you dare to acknowledge me, then I'll dare to accept. Sun Mo replied, then looked at this sickly person. All of his data immediately appeared next to him. He hadn't seen wrongly the other time. This person's potential value was really stated as being extremely high. He was of the same standards as Xuan Yunpo and Li Ziki. During the 3 days of the student recruitment meet, Sun Mo had seen over 2,000 students. However, these 3 were the only students who had an extremely high potential value. At the same time, the system also stated to not treat him in the same manner as one would toward a child. Otherwise, you'd get it bad. This showed that although this young man looked harmless, he might secretly be a scheming person. Tan Tang was stunned and he assessed Sun Mo. You aren't afraid that trash like me will become a blemish on your path as a great teacher? I have the confidence of nurturing you into someone great. Sun Mo merely mentioned this in passing. He didn't really care if he would be able to recruit Tan Tang successfully or not. It was because the system had said that this person was a time bomb, and it was advisable to stay far away from him. Tan Tang was stunned, and he looked at Sun Mo in surprise. This handsome-looking intern teacher seemed to be more confident than he was. To think that he would say something so narcissist. Who gave you the courage to do that? However, Tan Tang felt a slight throb in his heart. The reason he came to the Central Province Academy this time around was because a great teacher whom he had been admiring for a long time was a guest professor here. Although he made use of some tricks and got to meet the teacher, The teacher didn't take him in as his disciple. The reason was because of his sickly constitution. What use would it be if he were to die young, even if he was a genius? Great teachers were very busy and didn't lack disciples. Why would he have to waste his energy on Tantayutang? Ha ha. Tantayutang laughed in self-ridicule and decided to test out Sun Mo further. However, he was interrupted before he could say anything. Is there an end to this? I hate people who try to scheme against me the most. Aren't you here to come under my tutelage? If you're willing, then kneel down now. Otherwise, scram. Sun Mo felt displeased. You want to test me? Who do you think you are? Tantayutang's calm expression changed. He couldn't help but feel surprised that Sun Mo had seen through him. Tantayutang had seen the process in which Sun Mo had accepted Jiang Leng as his student, and it left a strong impression on him. Thereafter, he tried to find out about Sun Mo. The reason why he had come to the battle hall was so that he could check Sun Mo out. If Sun Mo met his expectations, then he'd ask to go under his tutelage. This was a little awkward. Moreover, it seemed that this Sun Mo was a schemer as well. Why would people say that he was someone who sponged off a woman? It seemed that there must be a hidden story behind this. You're so hesitant. Are you even a guy? Sun Mo frowned. Ha ha, teacher Sun, you're really different from others. But aren't you afraid that I'll bring you great trouble if you were to take me as your disciple? Tantayutang asked. Pa. Sun Mo raised his hand and slapped Tantayutang's face. Huh? Lu Xiaoyuo, who had been watching by the side, was shocked. Why did he suddenly raise his hands? I'm someone who hates to repeat what I said for a second time. Don't test me any further. The reason why Sun Mo had done this wasn't only because he was feeling a little angry. He was also trying to test Tantayutang. After all, he mustn't ignore the system's remark. The students nearby heard the commotion and looked over. Tantayutang, who had been hit, didn't appear furious, violent, or ashamed. He only looked at Sun Mo with a hint of surprise. Thereafter, he shook his head, knelt down, and kowtowed respectfully. Teacher Sun, please take me in as your disciple. Ding. +1 favorable impression point from Tantayutang. Prestige connection with Tantayutang initiated. Neutral. 1/100th. Sun Mo's gaze paused when he heard the system's notification. You didn't contribute any favorable impression points when I saw through your scheme, but you showed a reaction after I gave you a slap. Are you a masochist? As expected of a student who was deemed to be a time bomb by the system, his reaction was too surprising. What did those psychology books he had bought say? There was a high chance that someone like him wasn't mentally well. Teacher. Lu Xiaoyuo hid behind Sun Mo, tugging at his sleeve secretly. She covered her mouth with her hand and reminded him, I feel that he's very scary. It's better to not take him in as a disciple. Ha ha. Sun Mo laughed as well. When I play games, I love to challenge the highest difficulty level. How can I possibly back off when a student is challenging me now? Sun Mo, don't go too far and end up failing miserably later. The system suddenly reminded him. All right, after 3 kowtows, you'll be my disciple. Sun Mo spoke up, not paying the system any heed. Teacher. Lu Xiaoyuo tugged at Sun Mo's sleeves anxiously. Teacher, please accept 3 kowtows from this disciple. Tantayutang kowtowed properly, knocking his forehead to the ground without trying any tricks. Get up. Sun Mo had his hands behind his back and walked out of the battle hall, not helping Tantayutang up. The sickly guy didn't mind it. He got up, brushed off the dust on his kneecaps, and then bowed toward Lu Xiaoyuo. Senior Martial Sister Lu. Lu Xiaoyuo immediately ran off like a rabbit that had seen a hunter. Oh my, that sickly guy hasn't scared off my lucky mascot, right? Sun Mo was a little worried. You're better off worrying about yourself. I'll repeat it again. This is Middle-earth's 9 provinces. Don't use the teaching method you used back in number 2 high school. It'd be useless. The system reprimanded, feeling that Sun Mo hadn't listened to its advice. Since you've chosen me as your owner, then you should trust me. Or are you saying that you're blind? Sun Mo's lips twitched. I was challenged, so what was I supposed to do? Avoid it? I'm sorry, I'd rather die. The system suddenly fell silent. After hearing Sun Mo's words, it suddenly felt that it might have made the best choice in choosing Sun Mo.
Putting his capabilities aside, it was true that he had conducted himself with the air of a great teacher. Its previous few hosts would all immediately shrink back after docilely listening to its warning. "Are you feeling admiration for me now?" Sun Mo asked. "If so, just say it. Don't keep it pent up inside you." Scram. The system made its point clear. Ding. Mission released. Please make Tang want to acknowledge you from the bottom of his heart. The reward will be 1 golden treasure chest. It wasn't that pleasant when Sun Mo heard the mission announced by the system. This sickly guy really didn't harbor a pure intention. But that didn't matter. Things would only be challenging then. After coming to the central province's Tang country, he couldn't lay his hands on game consoles anymore and couldn't play games. Therefore, he could only find his own fun. Teaching a student would be considered quite a good way of spending his time. Due to Gixyuk-sun's efforts, the school agreed that as long as an intern teacher managed to recruit 5 students, they'd be converted to an official position, becoming a substitute teacher. An internal announcement had been released, so there wouldn't be any changes to it. Li Ziki, Lu Xiaoyuo, Xuan Yunpo, Jiang Leng, and now, with Tang, there were a total of 5 of them. Although they each had their flaws, Sun Mo had managed to meet the requirements. "You guys can take a walk around the school by yourself. I'll be taking my leave first." Sun Mo had been going around for 2 days but hadn't met that many students with high potential value. Moreover, it wasn't easy for him to recruit students in the first place given his status as an intern teacher. Therefore, he decided not to waste time on this and went back to the dorm to continue his writing of Journey to the West. Men mustn't be short of money. It was because they'd have nothing to back them up if they didn't have any. This was what Sun Mo had always thought. Therefore, he needed to come up with the manuscript quickly and head to the reading veranda to look for the boss whose surname was Zheng. Exchanging the manuscript for money, Tang touched his face where he had been slapped by Sun Mo and watched as Sun Mo departed. His lips curled up into a smile, hoping that this life spent in the Central Province Academy wouldn't be boring. Lu Xiaoyuo had run off after Sun Mo. The student recruitment meet finally ended after 3 days. The staff from the logistics department dismantled the martial arts platform, took off the banners that were hung up in various parts of the school, as well as some temporary infrastructures that had been set up. After they were done with all the work, they then had a gathering at a restaurant. After digging into the dishes and wine, the atmosphere became more lively. It wasn't long before the conversation was turned to Sun Mo. There was no helping it since this guy had a relationship with Xin Huai. "Did you guys hear?" Sun Mo had taken in quite a few students, out of which, one of them was a genius that Liu Mubai had taken an interest in. "I think he is called Xuan Yuanpo. I wonder if this is true." Chen Mu felt curious. It's clearly a lie. Which student would be so stupid to study under an intern teacher? Liu Tong let out a soft cough. He had drunk so much that his face was flushed up, and his breath smelled of wine. That might not be the case. "I heard that Gixyuk-sun had recruited 5 students on the first day. As expected of a graduate that our headmaster had personally headhunted. She's too outstanding." Chen Mu retaliated. "How can Sun Mo be compared with Gixyuk-sun? He's not even worthy of carrying her shoes." Liu Tong said in disdain. "That's right. He must have spent money to get people to spread the rumor for the sake of his reputation. Weren't there intern teachers who had done the same in the past? They still ended up being fired in the end. Even if Sun Mo has the capabilities, he won't be able to work for long." Zhang Hanfu's son had always liked headmaster and, do you guys think that Zhang Hanfu would let Sun Mo off? That Sun Mo really doesn't have a discerning eye. He thinks he has the right to get involved in our school's chaotic matters. He's planning on helping headmaster and to bring back the school's glory, to bring it back to the ranks of the 9 greats. He's thinking too much. The workers from the logistics department had fewer reservations in their talks after having drunk a lot. It was difficult for the Central Province Academy to return to its former glory. If they were to be ranked last in this year's league tournament, then they'd lose their rights and be removed from the list. It'd be all over for them then. It made sense. Zhang Hanfu and Wang Su had been in the school for over 20 years. And their influences were deeply rooted. It had only been 3 years since Xin Huai came. In the past, she didn't have any experience of being a headmaster. To be honest,
It was already considered good that she hadn't been chased off after 3 months. When Xin just came, other than Zilin, she had no other close aides by her side. She had to put in great effort to stabilize her standing in the school. Old Li, you've been taking care of Sun Mo recently. What's your take on this? Liu Tong gulped down a cup of wine. Ha ha. Li Gong wore an awkward expression, having a strong urge to curse. He had been following Sun Mo over the past few days, wanting to see if there was any way to deal with the predicament. He then increasingly lost the courage to go up against Sun Mo. Taking Xuan Yunpo in was a rumor. What a joke. When Xuan Yunpo knelt down and acknowledged Sun Mo as his teacher, Li Gong had been hiding in the warehouse, witnessing the entire process. Chapter 59, You guys don't know how terrifying Sun Mo is. If Li Gong hadn't seen it for himself, he might have thought that Sun Mo had just gotten lucky before anyone had noticed Xuan Yunpo. But what was the truth like? Qin Fen had also been present at the scene then. He had even confidently mentioned his brilliant achievements to prove how outstanding he was. In the end, Xuan Yunpo still chose Sun Mo. Even until now, Li Gong could still remember how furious Qin Fen had been after losing to Sun Mo. He was just short of devouring Sun Mo up. Was Xuan Yunpo a genius? Li Gong couldn't tell. However, he knew that Liu Mubai and Gixuk Sun had both wanted to recruit him. But in the end, he landed up in Sun Mo's hands. As someone who was used to the society's ways, having experienced a lot of ups and downs, Li Gong didn't believe in luck. There must be a reason why Sun Mo had been able to win against Qin Fen. Then, Li Ziki came up by herself to look for Sun Mo, wanting to become his disciple. Li Gong had seen for himself how many teachers had fought to recruit her. Putting aside Liu Mubai and Gixuk Sun, who were new teachers that Xin had held great expectations for, even a few great teachers came. However, Li Ziki hadn't wavered at all and insisted on choosing to follow Sun Mo. Li Gong found it funny after seeing Zhu Shaoyan returning in disappointment, wearing an expression as if someone had stolen his food supply. You great teachers have always carried yourself so loftily. You've been defeated now, right? However, Li Gong's amusement was then replaced by respect and fear. Zhu Shaoyan was a 2-star great teacher, and even he had wanted to recruit Li Ziki. This showed that Li Ziki was either very talented or had come from a wealthy family, having a distinguished status. Regardless of which it was, Sun Mo had gotten a good deal. Of course, there was also the possibility that he might suffer great losses. Not all great teachers were good people with respectable morals. What would happen when someone snatched the opportunity and recruited a student like Li Ziki, whom even great teachers wanted? Of course they'd keep on sending trouble to that particular teacher's way. This trouble wasn't referring to fighting, but in the area of their teaching capabilities. If the teacher's capabilities were insufficient, they'd gradually lose confidence from these challenges. They might even become reclusive, feeling that they weren't able to teach the student well and take on the initiative to rescind their teacher-student relationship. There was no other way out. Who would still have the face to continue as a teacher after failing too many times? Li Gong had been working in the Central Province Academy for close to 10 years and had seen such occurrences before. Great teachers didn't just need to be able to recruit students with good potential, but they also had to be capable of holding on to them. HMPH, Sun Mo, don't be proud. The real tests are the ones that are coming. Li Gong wanted to see Sun Mo ending up in wretched state. However, upon recalling his pathetic state the other day after being struck by the ignorant and incompetent Halo, he shuddered and quickly dismissed this thought. Even if Sun Mo were to lose, he still wouldn't be someone that Li Gong could taunt. At the thought of this, Li Gong felt upset and drank an entire jug of wine. Ding. Plus 20 favorable impression points from Li Gong. Prestige connection with Li Gong. Neutral. 76 100ths. Sun Mo isn't as bad as you guys say. Okay. In order to fight for students, he even had a competition with Qin Fen and ended up winning. One logistics worker pointed out. He had been present at the scene then. I heard about that as well. It was said that after he won, that pair of twin brothers immediately knelt and asked to study under him. However, Did he really reject them? Chen Mu asked. It must be fake. If it were you, would you reject students who want to study under you? Liu Tong was very certain. I wouldn't. Chen Mu shook his head. I would want to put them up on an altar and revere them. That's why you'll forever be a logistics worker, while Sun Mo is a teacher. Moreover, it is very likely that he might become a great teacher. Li Gong sneered in his heart. He had seen that competition as well. He had even been outside the classroom, making use of some tools to peep at the process in which Sun Mo had used the ancient dragon capturing hands massage technique on the student called Ziping. It was too magnificent and too amazing. If he could have the good fortune of enjoying it, his lame leg would definitely be able to recover. At the thought of this, Li Gong felt even greater respect toward Sun Mo. Just with his hands alone, it wouldn't be a problem for him to take care of his living needs in the Central Province Academy. The only problem was that the vice-headmaster Zhang Hanfu would definitely destroy his reputation and chase him out of the school so that his son would be able to marry Xin Huai. Ding! +20 favorable impression points from Li Gong. Prestige connection with Li Gong, neutral, 96/100ths. The logistics workers chatted on, and the topic soon changed to the ladies. They talked about female teachers, students, as well as throwing out all sorts of lewd jokes. Li Gong was usually someone who enjoyed conversations like these, but he had no mood for that today. What kind of person was Sun Mo? Li Gong felt that given his judgment that he had trained up while mingling in society for so many years, he was able to see through plenty of people. However, he was unable to see through Sun Mo. Why did he reject the Zhu brothers? They were young men who were called geniuses and had their names listed on the talent booklet. If Sun Mo didn't care for them, then why did he take in Jiang Leng thereafter? Having stayed in the school for a very long time, even Li Gong knew of some basic techniques for selecting students. One shouldn't take students who were covered in spirit runes. That would mean that the students would have no more potential for growth. One shouldn't take in sickly students either. However, not only did Sun Mo recruit Jiang Leng, but he had even gone up against Lian Zheng, who was a one-star great teacher, to get him. Lian Zheng was someone that Li Gong would anxiously curry up to, but Sun Mo was unafraid of him. At the thought of how he had threatened Sun Mo back then, Li Gong felt that he had been too ridiculous. In Sun Mo's eyes, he was probably more of a clown than a clown was. Ding! +20 favorable impression points from Li Gong. Prestige connection with Li Gong, friendly, 106/100ths. Li Gong, drink up. Chen Mu called out. Oh. Li Gong downed another cup of wine. He was completely in submission to Sun Mo after having seen his performance during the student recruitment meet. He decided to do as Sun Mo planned. After he got his lame leg treated, it wouldn't be a problem for him even if he had to seek a living elsewhere. What Sun Mo said was right. With a lame leg, he'd be despised by the prostitutes even if he were to patronize brothels. It'd take him a long time to struggle to change positions, and he'd have gotten soft then. I'm telling you, even if Sun Mo were to become an official teacher, he won't be able to stay here for long. Would Zhang Hanfu let him off? Would Liu Mu Bai let him off? Liu Tong was gloating. Given how Xin Huai has reputation, beauty, and status, who wouldn't want to marry her? Sun Mo is destined to be kicked away when he is standing at the very front. Ha, it'd be good if he can be kicked to death. Liu Mu Bai might be barely worthy of headmaster, but who is Sun Mo? That's why Sun Mo should do things properly. If he is a toad, then he shouldn't be lusting after the swan's flesh. The group of logistics workers started laughing. Xin Huai had a very good reputation in the Central Province Academy. This was like people seeing the female celebrity they liked announcing that she had gotten engaged. Moreover, the guy was someone who had extremely ordinary looks. Kick Sun Mo aside, they'd probably get their legs broken instead. Li Gong mumbled. Of course, he didn't dare to say this out openly. As someone experienced with the way things worked in society, he knew how he should act to integrate with a group. He had to smile on the surface, sharing the same views as the majority. The entire story of Journey to the West wasn't long, and Sun Mo wasn't planning on giving Old Man Zheng the entire manuscript in one go either. In the event that the old man denied things, then he'd have an alternative route to turn to. It wasn't that Sun Mo didn't believe Old Man Zheng, but it was just that he liked to keep a backup plan and not let himself be sunk into a desperate strait. This was one of his beliefs. After writing about staying the night at the Wushuang Monastery and secretly eating the wrenchen fruit, Sun Mo stopped writing. The school had already sent out the notification that they'd be holding the meeting for intern teachers. They mustn't be late for such meetings, so Sun Mo went to sleep now. However, before long, the system's notification rang out. He had received favorable impression points from Li Gong. "What is this?" Sun Mo frowned. "Li Gong has developed a reverence for you and thus generated favorable impression points," the system explained. "Come on, can we be more reasonable with things? I had just fallen asleep. I won't be encountering a lot of such situations in the future, right? I'd definitely die young then." Sun Mo was speechless. "Li Gong, you're a guy. Can you think of a woman before you sleep? What do you mean by having reverence for me?" The system fell silent, not talking crap with Sun Mo. Sun Mo lay down, but a few minutes later, the system's notification rang out again. 20 favorable impression points was a lot. It was as if he had picked up $100 while walking on the road in the day. However, Sun Mo didn't feel good about it. He got up from his bed, poured himself a cup of water, and drank as he thought about things. What was this situation? Why did Li Gong contribute so many favorable impression points? Were there any schemes in this? It wasn't long before another notification rang out. The word friendly was especially pleasant sounding. Ha. Sun Mo had no idea what to say now. Even though he felt happy from receiving the favorable impression points, at the thought of how a man wasn't sleeping at night but thinking of him instead, he felt uncomfortable despite that it was the feelings of reverence. How good would it be if it was changed to a big-boobed girl? Ding! Congratulations, your prestige connection with Li Gong has been raised to friendly. Rewarded with 1 black eye and treasure chest. Please keep up the good work. A pitch-black treasure chest immediately dropped down and appeared before him. Keep it. Lu Ziyuo, who could increase his luck, wasn't by his side, so Sun Mo didn't dare to open up the chest. Otherwise, it'd be as useless as throwing meat buns at a dog to beat it. After waiting for another half an hour, there was finally no new notifications. However, Sun Mo wasn't able to go back to sleep anymore. Left without a choice, he could only open up their 100 types of alchemical secret concoction methods, and continued to study it. Other than grasping 3 great teacher halos, one must also reach the expert grade in a secondary occupation to become a 1-star great teacher. The original owner of this body had studied alchemy previously, so Sun Mo decided to go with it. The wind in the early morning had a hint of coolness. Sun Mo woke up early as usual, practicing his grand universe formless divine art. Thereafter, he had breakfast and then headed for the teaching building. The meeting for intern teachers was going to start at 8 a.m. Sun Mo arrived 15 minutes earlier, but when he reached the classroom, he realized that close to 200 of the intern teachers had already arrived. It seemed that everyone wanted to leave a good impression of being punctual to the school's leaders. Gixuk-sun was talking to some teachers when she saw Sun Mo entering. She threw him a glance. The others also noticed Sun Mo, and the talking sounds instantly softened. Everyone's gazes turned toward Sun Mo. That's Sun Mo, as an Xin Huai's fiancée, as well as the only intern teacher who had been thrown to the logistics department. Quite a number of people hadn't seen Sun Mo before. However, there was almost no one who hadn't heard of his name. Sun Mo couldn't be bothered to walk further in and randomly found a seat in the last row to sit down. As there were too many people and they wouldn't fit in the office, they could only come to the classroom to hold the meeting. He looks so composed. Some intern teachers were surprised. If they were the ones to get so much attention, they'd definitely feel nervous and at a loss. DSK, although he looks calm, he's definitely very anxious inside. Some people looked down on him. Gixuk-sun pursed her lips. The one directing today's meeting was the vice headmaster, Zhang Hanfu. Sun Mo was in for a scolding. Chapter 60. Storming hostility. Sun Mo sat at the back row, assessing his 200 competitors. Other than a minority of them who couldn't get along with others, the rest were basically split into 3 groups. The first group was one led by Gixuk-sun. As the top graduate from Zhongzhou Academy and the top beauty in the school, Most of her people were male intern teachers. Most top beauties of their school would maintain a cold attitude, letting the guys know that it wasn't an easy thing to get close to them. They wanted to increase their value in this manner. However, Gixuk-sun didn't do so. When she smiled, it was as if the spring breeze had blown. She would reply even when occasionally approached by some ugly intern teachers. Gixuk-sun's goal wasn't just to become a great teacher. She wanted to bring the Central Province Academy back to its former glory, to the rankings of the 9 greats. For the sake of this, Gixuk-sun had displayed her astonishing approachability. Only people with that quality would be able to gain good impressions of most teachers and thereby becoming a leader. The second group took up space on the right of the classroom, with Gao Ben in its core. The ratio of guys to ladies wasn't too different, but it was the biggest group out of all 3. Gao Ben graduated from Liang Province's West Shore Military School and had achieved great mastery in the mystic ice spear arts that was passed down in his family. He had outstanding battle prowess, and this was also the reason why Vice Headmaster Zhang Hanfu had spent a great amount of money to recruit him. The West Shore Military School was one of the 9 greats, and their specialties were in battles. Moreover, as they uphold the military-style management in the school, most of their students were very careful and serious. Of course, there were also a lot of them who didn't smile at all. Therefore, there was a saying that was spread amongst the world of the great teachers: if they saw a teacher or student who had a poker face, then they must definitely be from the West Shore Military School. Gao Ben didn't like to talk, but this didn't stop him from becoming the focal point of the group. This was because this world had always been one that revered the strong. Quite a number of intern teachers tried to seek guidance from him but almost couldn't get any replies. The third circle had the least number of people, taking up space on the left of the classroom, further to the back. Zhang Lan was like the leader of the group, and most of the people here were female intern teachers. Zhang Lan was a graduate from province's Myriad Spirits Academy, and specialized in spiritual beast control. This school was also one of the supreme academies. As a female, Zhang Lan's looks were ordinary. However, after dolling up and having the status as a graduate from a famous school, she was able to attract some guys as well. However, there was an eerie spirit rune tattoo on her left face which made her disposition scarier. If her partner who shared the same bed with her were to see her after waking up in the middle of the night, he'd definitely get a bad scare. The female intern teachers didn't look down on her. Or rather, when ladies with ordinary appearances gather together, it'd have the feeling as if they were gathered together to share warmth. There might also be those who had a hint of superiority, thinking that although they weren't stronger than her, they were at least better looking. This sense of superiority was non-existent when they were with Gixuk-sun. Sun Mo pinched his forehead. It wasn't easy to survive in the workplace. I heard that Qin Fen has resigned. Is that true? Gao Ben stroked his newly shaved beard stubble and looked around for Qin Fen. Ha! He wasn't even able to win against Sun Mo who sponges off a woman. What else can he do except to resign? To stay behind and be ridiculed? Zhangzhou sneered. If I were Jixia Learning Palace's headmaster, I'd beat him to death for bringing such shame to the school. Who amongst you has seen the competition that day? What happened? How did Sun Mo win? Gao Ben was curious, and it was rare for him to ask more questions. It was meant to be a competition of their ability to provide guidance, but Sun Mo had pulled a trick and used massage techniques to help bring up the student's level. How were they supposed to compete then? That student would surely win. The uglier guy who had seen Sun Mo recruited Xuan Yunpo on the first day of the student recruitment meet spoke up. He didn't witness the situation on that day, but the rumors spread like wildfire. Moreover, because Sun Mo was Xin Huai's fiancée, many intern teachers didn't like him. Therefore, the rumors continued to move toward the negative aspect as they spread. Massage technique? Gao Ben frowned. How can there be such an amazing massage technique? The student must have eaten some sort of alchemical pill, or that he was almost advancing to the next level to begin with. Zhangzhou had doubts. Everyone continued to talk about this. And when Zhangzhou heard that almost everyone doubted Sun Mo, his mood instantly became a lot better. The school that Zhangzhou had graduated from was at the bottom even amongst the D-grade schools. Therefore, he valued this internship opportunity at the Central Province Academy. Seeing that Sun Mo had become famous, in addition to the fact that he was Xin-Huai's fiancé and thus was almost certain to get a position to stay in the school, Zhangzhou felt very displeased. Therefore, the things he talked about Sun Mo behind his back wouldn't sound very pleasing. In fact, many intern teachers didn't like Sun Mo. It was because he wasn't capable yet could stay behind in the school. If the right to remain in the school was dependent on their capabilities, they felt that they'd definitely be able to crush Sun Mo. Clank, clank, clank. The bell suddenly rang. It was 8 a.m. The intern teachers were stunned for a moment and then quickly returned to their seats. Some of them even started to tidy up their appearances, putting on what they felt was a charming smile. If they could leave a good impression with the school's leaders, they might increase their chances of staying in the school. The door soon opened and a middle-aged guy with a height of less than 1.6 meters walked in. He was short but stocky. The black long robes he was wearing bulged tightly from his muscles, and his figure could be clearly seen. His short stature and limbs looked a little funny given his status as a teacher. When he stood in front, he was only one head taller than the desk. However, no one dared to laugh. This middle-aged man was called Zhang Hanfu, and he was one of the 3 vice-headmasters in the Central Province Academy. He was a 2-star great teacher and was also an expert in the divine force realm. Putting these aside, the pressure that Zhang Hanfu emitted was powerful enough. It could be that his height was too similar to that of Wu Dang, so he placed a greater emphasis on his spirit and disposition. He kept a tense expression and as he looked around, his narrow eagle eyes gleamed with a sharp glow. Zhang Hanfu's gaze swept across the room like a sharp blade. All the intern teachers shifted their gazes, not daring to look him in the eye. What a domineering disposition. Gixuxun wasn't afraid, but given how intelligent she was smart and knew how she should act. Zhang Hanfu was satisfied. Due to his physical flaw, he valued high positions even more and enjoyed the mental joy he received from subduing others. However, when his gaze landed on the back row, he frowned. Sun Mo sat there, assessing him and not averting his gaze at all. There weren't any hints of reverence or fear either. What insolence! Zhang Hanfu's lips twitched, and he was about to look for an excuse to give Sun Mo a scolding when the door at the back of the classroom was pushed open with a loud bang. Lu Dai ran in, panting furiously, holding onto a bag that had half a pig trotter that was covered in thick hair. Swoosh! Half of the intern teacher's gazes turned over but quickly turned back at an even faster speed, looking steadily to the front. Lu Dai broke out in a cold sweat, and it instantly drenched his clothes. However, he didn't dare to wipe it off. He stood there, stiff and on the spot as if he had been turned into a stone, not daring to move. He looked at Zhang Hanfu with a pleading gaze. The first requirement of a teacher is to be punctual. If you can't even do this, then how do you expect to become a teacher? Get out. Zhang Hanfu didn't bellow but spoke as if he was bellowing. His words seemed to come straight from his throat, sounding very imposing. Lu Dai wanted to explain that he had woken up very early, but was delayed because he was braising pig trotter and sending it to teacher Zushani. However, it was a pity that when he met Zhang Hanfu's stern gaze, it was as if he had been smacked in the mouth by a club, unable to say a word. Another 6 of the school's leaders entered, with an Xin-Huai at the very back. She was wearing a moon-white long robe, appearing elegant and refined. The male intern teachers secretly threw a glance at her and then felt even more jealous of Sun Mo. Sit down. There's no next time, Xin-Huai said and looked at Lu Dai, who seemed as if he was going to burst out in tears. Oh. Lu Dai quickly found an empty seat nearby and sat down, looking as though he had been granted great amnesty. After Lu Dai's episode, when Zhang Hanfu looked toward Sun Mo again, he had lost his chance to reproach him. However, he was in no hurry. He would get his chance. The other school leaders sat on the chairs that had been prepared, with only Zhang Hanfu standing. He cleared his throat and started to speak. Gixuxun was a little surprised at the sight of this. It seemed that the fight for power in the Central Province Academy was a lot more intense than she had expected, and Xin-Huai seemed to be in a very disadvantageous position. Usually, it would be the headmaster who started off a speech. The one to speak first would be the one who held the highest position and the greatest authority. But right now, Zhang Hanfu had gone against his position and took on this role. Looking at how the other leaders were behaving, it seemed that they weren't unfamiliar with such things. This meant that this wasn't something that happened by chance. We, the Central Province Academy, don't look at one's background and experience. As long as you have talent, you can rise and get the chance to showcase your abilities. Zhang Hanfu spoke up. Although this vice headmaster was short like a potato, he spoke imposingly. In addition to his powerful body language, his speech had a great ability to influence others. Based on past years' precedences, an intern teacher must first be a teaching assistant for a year and pass the tests before taking on the job officially. However, this year, after the discussions amongst the school's leaders, we've decided that as long as an intern teacher can recruit 5 personal disciples from the student recruitment meet, they will be able to get the employment letter from Central Province Academy, becoming a substitute teacher. Slight commotions broke out in the classroom, and everyone's gaze turned toward Gixuk-sun, Gao Ben, and Zhang Lan. Gao Ben's legs were apart, his hands resting on his knees, and his back upright as he looked straight to the front. Zhang Lan didn't show any expressions, while Gixuk-sun smiled lightly, exuding strong confidence. Right now, all the intern teachers who have recruited 5 personal disciples, please raise your hands. Zhang Hanfu instructed. Gixuk-sun was confident and proud, raising her hand without any hesitation. Next, Gao Ben also raised his right hand. Their gazes met, releasing sparks and great competitiveness. Swoosh! Everyone's eyes turned toward Zhang Lan. Zhang Lan was expressionless and paused for about 10 or so seconds. Just as everyone thought that she hadn't recruited enough students, she raised her hand. Ha! You guys must have been fooled, right? Zhang Lan felt exhilarated.